side you choose? There.
Is the audience ready? I heard one. Okay. Audience ready? Yes. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, he looks good. 1, 2 out. Other out. Oh, he's struggling with issues. Yes. The victory is mine. You can't take that away from me. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see that just from my eyes. I won with a clear margin. Go for Nirvana. Eh? Congrats with second. Yes, I'm the champ. Thank you, audience. Way, thank you, Jersey. Good to be your champion here today. Oh.
That certainly looked like a lot of fun. Look out for more of these features with Christian and Gustav going head-to-head in an interview on Super League Triathlon's YouTube and Facebook channel next week. Christian will be in action in semi-final A up next, and there'll be another rivalry to look out for in the first men's race as Jersey's Ollie Turner will battle against Guernsey's Josh Lewis.
I'm Ollie.
I'm Josh, and this is the Jersey versus Guernsey quiz.
Who has the most Instagram followers? Not that we're counting, but I think I might have a few more than Josh.
Who wears the most sunglasses in their Instagram? That would be me.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, to be fair.
Who came out on top in the Island Games in Gibraltar?
Not me. That'd be you.
That would be me.
That'd be you, Josh.
Yeah.
No, I came out on bottom. Josh came out on top. Who's better in the gym? Is that a question? On average, who gets the most sunshine? It's obviously Jersey, the sunniest place in the British Isles. Fact, that.
Yeah, it is a fact.
Have I ever been on the podium in Jersey? Yeah, a few times, yeah.
In what?
Like local races. Loads of local races.
Do you have podiums in local races?
Well, do you have podiums in any race in Jersey?
No, but that's what they asked.
All right, well, no then. No, I haven't.
Ollie, what's your triathlon dream?
My triathlon dream is to be more like you. My triathlon nightmare is to be more like you, but not from Guernsey.
Okay.
What is your triathlon dream and your triathlon nightmare, Josh?
My triathlon dream would be to be able to afford to do it on a day-to-day basis without having to fund it myself. I'm a triathlon nightmare. To not have you around on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, wow! That's so harsh!
Well, that's really nice.
To not have me around.
Yeah, that'd be my nightmare.
Oh, yeah, that was nice. Sorry. This is that wrong, that was really nice. And who's going to come out on top this weekend in Super League?
Me.
Yeah, fair enough. Fighting talk, I like it. We'll see about that.
Yeah, we will.
Welcome back to St Helier, Jersey, and we are getting ready right now for the men's semi-finals. It's maintained the weather out there so far. We should see some very, very fast racing indeed. Let's have a look right now at the course map as the men are going to tackle it. It's going to be a tough one, there's no doubt about that. 300-metre swim, 2 turns on the buoy, back in up a very, very steep ramp. The green is the bike course. There's some treacherous points on there, especially that roundabout at the bottom of your screen and the technical course section up near the fan zone. The run is very similar to the bike. There's great crowds on both sides because we've done it just exactly like that. A little bit of a shorter turnaround there on the run, so we don't see it on the roundabout for that. We're going to head right now into an explainer of the format, and we're looking forward to it. The semi-finals. From a mass start, athletes face a 300-metre swim, 4-kilometre bike and a 1.6-kilometre run twice. 2 consecutive triathlons at full speed, no breaks and no room for conservation, with each of the 5 transitions featuring live eliminations. The semi-final format is a true examination of pace and precision, with spots in Sunday's final awarded to those who can withstand the pressure.
Okay, well, they are raring to go. We've got the men's semi-final A. They are making their way down to the Pontine. Of course, we have the world champion, the race favourite, Vincent Louis. He has chosen to be in slot number 1. We're going to go in and see if we can grab a quick word. They're all taking off their gear. Again, it is the first 5 athletes that will automatically qualify. We've seen from the women's races just how much can happen. So many eventful moments. So there's definitely an air of tension, but I'm sure the athletes are very excited. Let's have a look up here. We'll walk up this way and see who we can grab a word to along the front. The gurgles are going on. We're ready to go. So we have Vincent Louis. He will be a firm race favourite, but some very strong contenders in this heat. Tyler Mislashuk, he will be lining up alongside him in slot 2. I'll ask him in a minute if he's here how much that will help him going out next to the world champion. Surely that will get him off to a great swim start. And they are just lining up here in front of me. Let's head over here. We have got Tyler with us here. Tyler, we know you're lining up next to Louis. How much is that going to help your start?
We'll see, hey? We'll see how nice he is to be out here. If he, hopefully I can get on his feet and get out clean. We got the inside line, so.
Do you think you can beat him and cause an upset?
We'll see, hey? Time will tell. Ask him. I don't think he'll have the same answer.
Okay. Let's look along and see who we've got. Number 5 here, Christian Blumenfeld. They call you the Viking. Why is that? What Viking superpowers are you going to use today?
Well, hopefully, I don't know, just making it through.
What kind of start would you like from this swim?
Obviously a good one, and not maybe like being mid-pack out of the water, and then I can try to climb a little bit on the bike and hopefully be in closer to the front after the run.
Excellent. Well, you're wet, you're ready to go. I'm going to leave you guys to it. Have a great race.
Mid-pack on the swim and then drag everyone to the front on the bike. That's exactly what Christian Blumenfeld usually does as we move up into the start of semi-final A for the men. Just a reminder of our coloured jerseys. Everyone who finishes in the top 5 of each of the first swim, bike and run over the course of this one will pick up points towards those jerseys. And Henry Schumann is alongside me in commentary. He does not want his blue jersey to go to somebody else, but unfortunately he can't manage it today, but he'll be back racing soon, we do hope, and we'll get to him in just a second after we have a look through our pontoon positions. The world champ, Vincent Louis, and our rating champ is in 1, alongside Tyler, who we just heard from. Leo Berger, the other Frenchman who's featured heavily in our racing too, is in 3. We go further down, Blumenfeld, Igor Polyansky, the Russian, is a fantastic swimmer, so look out for him. And the 3-time world champion, and just had his world championship taken off him by Lewis, actually, Mola, is in 7. There's classics, there's class all the way through the field though. Martin van Riel down in 13 is another to look out for, the Belgian. Henry, that is a stacked heat.
Yeah, definitely. That is a very stacked heat. You got the reigning world champion, Louis. He's on the inside with Tyler Mislashuk, and they're going to have the best line right here.
On the outside in the white is Josh Lewis from Guernsey. Also in this one is the local favourite, Ollie Turner from Jersey. So that Guernsey, Channel Islands battle is going to take place in this one. Just a reminder, it is swim, bike, run. The top 5 go through to tomorrow's final, and we'll have semi-final B in just a second, and the top 5 from that, and then the next fastest times overall, and the pace is right on. Vasco Valassa from Portugal, who I think could be somewhat of a threat and be on the bubble in this one, is in the white. He's one of our youngest athletes and closest to the camera, in a great angle there. And on the other side though, Lewis.
It looks like Igor Polyansky that is really pushing the pace there.
We're so used to seeing you off the front at the start of these races, Henry. It looks like Polyansky who's gone in front of Vincent Louis.
I think he's going for that swim jersey.
Yes, that would make a lot of sense.
He's a fantastic swimmer. Sometimes the other legs let him down a little bit, but he'll want to pick up that 5 points for coming out of the water first. and he'll be wearing blue tomorrow if indeed he is the fastest of the 2 heats in the water. We'll keep an eye on that, but there's not a lot of room out there between about 7 or 8 athletes wide.
Yeah, we can see Martin van Riel. He's really trying to push forward there, but he's got athletes on his shoulders, and they're actually holding him back. So you can see that line of athletes. Igor Polyansky is well clear, gone, and I think it's Vincent Louis on the inside that might just get ahead of him around this point.
It must be hard for you watching this and knowing that by this stage you'd already be about 3 lengths in front.
Yeah, it's tough being on the sidelines, but yeah, I mean,
it looks horrible to me. Like, I'm very happy here.
Yeah, it's really cold outside. I was outside during the women's race, and I'm actually glad to be inside in a warm box.
It looks like Mario Mola up there in about 5th or 6th position, who's had a great start. If I can see with the red, with the Spanish flag, I'm just trying to spot that. But Vincent Lewis is always sitting off your shoulder. He just seems to move himself around. He does whatever he wants to do in the swim, and he would have seen Igor Polyansky roar off the front, going for that swimmer's jersey, and thought, there's my smooth run to transition.
Yeah, he's a very, very tactical swimmer, as Vincent Lewis always finds a way to do it as quickly and with as little energy expenditure as possible as they head around the second buoy.
That was Mislachok. I thought I saw that redness, and it was Tyler Mislachok who's sitting about 6th or 7th position. It wasn't Mario Mola.
Mislachok's really had a fantastic season this season. He's really found a way, I think, to get into that dark cave and find that extra 10%, and it's delivered him some fantastic results, including a win in the Tokyo Test event just a couple of weeks ago.
He just doesn't seem to like the cooler conditions. Tyler seems to thrive whenever the temperature turns up. I don't know why. He's from one of the coldest places in Canada, and he said to me yesterday that he trained as a kid in these cold conditions and hates it ever since.
Well, he's got about 1% body fat. That probably doesn't help him. You don't experience it back in the same way he does.
I love the cold conditions. It doesn't feel that cold here.
You're actually sweating lightly. I wish I could bring that to people visually. But at the front is Vincent Lewis, and he will lead out of the water, it looks like. At the moment, there's quite a spread over those athletes, probably 20 seconds. We'll head down to Joe right now. Talk us through it, Joe.
Okay, well, I've got Jodie Simpson down here with me, and it's Vincent Lewis and Polyansky. How do you think they're doing so far?
Yeah, good. Louis is really going for this short shoot, so he's definitely up there. He's set himself up perfectly.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a couple of people getting left behind already. It's quite tough getting out of that water, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, these guys are doing a great job of getting them out, but it's quite slippery coming out of this water. So you need to try and get some grip if possible, and kind of use the volunteers, and then try as best as you can to get up this steep ramp, which the guys at the back are already struggling with.
Yeah, that horrible, horrible ramp. And back to you in the studio.
Thank you. Vasco Velasa is at the back there, along with Michael Arashida, but at the front, it is Vincent Lewis who takes the 5 points for the fastest swim split from Igor Polyansky, Tyler Mislachuk and his compatriot Matt Sharp there. So all of our contracted athletes towards the front of the field with Leo Bergier as well. And it's important to get on this bike, especially with all of that.
It's interesting to see some of the athletes are deciding to run around that U-turn before mounting their bike, and Vincent Louis was actually mounting it before that corner.
Well, he was off the front. He had that room to do it. It was Tyler Mislachok in second opted to run around and sort of caused some congestion. We saw Christian Blumenfeld just roar straight around that entire group. A couple of the French athletes got caught up in that.
Yeah, he's well out in the lead. He can really control the pace right now, pick his lines through the corners, and just be safe.
He does the little things right, Vincent Lewis. I was able to walk a course with him yesterday, and he was talking about the wind and the direction of the wind and the core flute, the hard barrier covers where he felt these cushion covers where the wind actually passes through. He found he could get blown around a bit, so he's looking at where he could hold his lines, especially as they come over this next section, as they come back onto the waterfront where we have core flute.
And that's really, and we saw that with Alistair Brownlee taking us through a course walk last year, is that the best in the game look at the little 1%ers and really dial it in. And Henry, you'd be the same. You'd look at every single little thing and not look at the course as a whole, and you can see where this one has barriers that have sandbags and this one has pits where it can push out from the wind, just little things.
Yeah, definitely. They've gone through this course a few times yesterday, checking out every detail of the course, checking out every bump, making sure that they know exact line that they're going to be taking. And Vincent Louis, he's really taking advantage of that. He's really just going for it, picking his lines really well, cornering really well, and he's actually gapping Tyler Mislachuk. So he's actually just really going for it right now.
If you were in this position, you've probably got 5 or 6 seconds at the front. Where do you think, how do you map your race out from here in terms of making sure you win, but also trying to conserve as much energy as possible for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a decision that you have to make in the moment. Right now he's got, I think, 6 athletes behind, so he maybe wants to just keep the pressure on just for a little bit. The guys behind are working just as hard to stay just where they are. I mean, and then you still get the snake effect with the guys behind. So he's actually in a really good position. He's comfortable, he's by himself, he knows he'll be safe.
Yeah, 2 Frenchmen at the front, Leo Berger heading that train. But as you say, the snake effect for people coming into a dead turn like that, it slows everything down.
Yeah, it definitely does. If you're sitting 3rd, 4th, 5th wheel, you're going to be working much harder than the guy in the front just to catch up that gap.
All right, you can see the splits there already, 30 seconds across that field.
Seems like he's got a bit of an issue with that left foot. He keeps trying to fiddle with it, maybe just tighten it, get comfortable. But he's got all the time in the world right now to do that.
He could probably stop, hop off the bike and just mount again and get it done the second time and still be in the lead. Such is the gap he's already pulled out. Our champion, he's 5 seconds ahead of Leo Berger. So the 2 Frenchmen, Igor Polyansky and Tyler Mislachuk, in 3rd and 4th ahead of Matt Sharp. Sylvain Friedelance is there. Ollie Turner is there as well. So a good start from Ollie Turner ahead of Martin Van Riel and Mario Mola and Christian Blumenfeld. So he's put himself in there with a good shout, Turner, if he can hang in this bike. You can see that there, though, how much everybody has to slow down coming into this one.
Yeah, they're on the brakes there. That concertina effect happens, especially into this left-hand turn. It's Christian Blumenfeld who drifts back a little bit. He doesn't like that stopping and starting, and that extra weight he carries as a bigger athlete makes it harder through those corners.
At the back of the field, Pierre Lecour, Michael Arashida and Josh Lewis down 33 seconds back. He's going to have to work hard because Vincent Lewis is really turning up the pace at the front. There is no doubt about that. He's not giving an inch just at the moment, and he'll look to continue to build this lead, and then he can measure his efforts throughout the rest of this race. And Mislachuk knows that, so he's overtaken Berger, and he's really trying to put it down.
Yeah, it looks like he's really trying to put some pressure on the guys at the back, maybe form a group of 2 or 3. I think that'll be quite ideal for him to join up with Lewis.
Well, you're one of the only guys who's been in this position that Vincent's been in. You're off the front, you've usually got a group chasing. What's going through your head? Have you got those calm lines? Do you know what's happening behind? Are you aware of that group? Is the information coming to you, or are you just sort of focusing on what you're doing and just staying upright?
It's more like just focusing on what you're doing. I mean, you're just going for it. Let the race happen behind you. I mean, everyone's working at the same effort, and if you can stay out in front 10 seconds ahead, I mean, why not?
And you sort of have a glance here when you get those opportunities to see where everyone is off the roundabout or in these dead sections. So you're aware of where everyone is, and you just sort of monitor that.
Yeah, he just had a look over his right shoulder, and you could see exactly where they are. He could also see that there's quite a big group, so it's actually not great to be in that group right now. You don't want an athlete making a mistake in front of you, and you don't want to be involved in that crash. And yeah, it just gives you some breathing space out front.
One of the most aggressive I've seen Tyler Mislachuk is usually he likes to sit.
Mislachuk's back here.
Oh, okay, that's Matty Sharp up front.
It's actually Sylvain Friedelance wearing the
Swiss
flag.
Okay, I was going to say Tyler tends to sit back a little bit more and use that big run, and it's Friedelance who wants to close the gap to one of his good friends.
It is indeed. Yep, Sylvain Friedelance. Partner of Cassandra Bograd. He just will have watched his girlfriend do the job, and now he's out there in second position. There is Velasa ahead of Mislachuk and Blumenfeld, who we usually see make more of a dent in the bike, but again, it's a little bit like Jeff Code in that it's a little bit more of a technical course now, and he doesn't have the chance to really do what he does and put down the power as much.
He sort of uses that power, and I find with Christian, we watched that 2 years ago when he was really aggressive here in that super pound-for-pound race, was the quickest one we ever had against Johnny Brownlee and Richard Murray. He struggled in and out of those turns. He sort of hits the brakes very late. He doesn't ride those rails like Henry does or Vincent Louis does as they come off those corners. He tends to be more aggressive, and his acceleration's just not there.
Big ups to Ollie Turner. He's sitting nice and comfortable in that group. I think he should be really happy with his position and thinking about a really fast run and be in touch with the guys after that second swim.
Well, they're going to love him as he comes through town. Ollie Turner, he's the crowd favourite. He lives here in Jersey, and he qualified for the series last year here in Jersey, which was huge for him.
He trains actually in Cardiff at the moment with Josh Lewis alongside him. The two of them pretty evenly matched, Guernsey and Guernsey. Finished 24th and 26th in the Commonwealth Games, both on the podium in the Island Games, and There's been a lot of head-to-head chat between those two. At the moment, Turner.
Was that Tyler Misselchuk just drifting off the back of that group around that roundabout?
I think you might be right. He is at the back of that group.
Wow.
You can see there 14 seconds back behind Blumenfeld.
I wonder if it's just a cold or if he maybe has like a puncture or an issue with his bike.
We're going to look now. We get this opportunity. He's definitely off
Well,
the back of Christian Blumenfeld, and Christian's dropped back too as well.
Christian's at the back.
And there's
it doesn't
Tyler
look like
right there.
a flat or anything much. I'm not
definitely
sure
not a
what
flat
it is.
tyre. He's not liking these cooler conditions. He was one of the people out there yesterday when it was teeming down rain, praying for no rain today. He got the no rain, but the temperature hasn't risen that much, about 17, 18 degrees ambient air temperature, and it's not something that Tyler was rejoicing.
No, I think in the second swim, I think it was last year, he was about 35 seconds down on his first swim time. But as Vincent Lewis comes into transition, we'll head down to Joe Anthea.
Yes, Jodie, from where we're standing, Vincent Lewis here, he just seems so relaxed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's done this perfect. He could take all the course, all the lines that he wanted to take. And now he's got time to take his transition. And he's done it again. He's away. He's doing this perfectly.
And now such a big group of the rest of them fighting for those positions. How tense does that make things, especially in transition?
It's absolutely carnage. You need to try and get to your position. You've got people coming in and out. It's absolute carnage, and you need to get in and out as quick as possible.
A very eventful race already. Back to you.
Ollie Turner, second out of transition.
Absolutely right. He's got the crowd right behind him. I was looking at everyone racking their bikes. Everyone went in back first on their bikes, except for Tyler Misselchuk. He is under the pump.
Yeah, he's definitely under pressure.
There he is. He's going to need to rely on that run, but he's racked his bike the normal way, and that's going to cost him later.
It'll be interesting to see what Vincent Lewis decides to do from this point. If he's just going to keep hammering on and just stay out in front the whole race, or if he might just wait for one or two stronger swimmers from the group behind him to catch up.
I guess my question to you, in terms of the fact that you spend more time, you're the one that's in the athlete locker room, you're the one who's amongst the group. If Vince decides to put the hammer down and he ends up running a minute faster than anybody else, for example, hypothetically, in his time when we put them both together, does that get in people's heads? If he's 30 seconds quicker than everyone else in the combined times, does everyone look at that and go, oh, gee, there's no way we're going to get him?
Yeah, you just go back to the drawing board and think, where can I improve?
Yeah.
How can I beat him?
But would he be thinking that I'm going to destroy everyone now because it's going to be a mental game for everyone else, or does he back off and let everyone come to him?
Absolutely. He's definitely planting a little seed in everyone's minds that he's in great shape, he's in great form. He's showing them how to race right now.
He's hating this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you hating this?
But there's one
You're
guy
too polite to say it, but this is your rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just running so smooth. He's in a nice stride. Even though that the run course is so technical, it's constantly accelerating, decelerating, and he's just motoring. He's actually just going for it right now. Blumenfeld is coming down that hill, really pushing the pace, trying to catch up.
I was sitting there waiting for Christian Blumenfeld to come through. Watch this, every time he sort of drifts back, I'm like, where's Christian? He's going to be moving to the front. He's always aggressive, and there he is, the one leading the charge in the pursuit of Vincent Lewis.
Freelance has found the going tough on the run. He's just ahead of Misselchuk. And well done to Vasco Velasa, who was in about 11th or 12th position, but's moved himself up into 7th position, the Portuguese. But at the front, though, it's 14 minutes in, and Vincent Lewis is doing exactly what he did here last year, and the crowd are enjoying every minute. Blumenfeld ahead of Van Riel, and then who is that behind Van Riel? Leo Berger, then Mario Mola, the three-time world champion, then Velasa. So he is in some exalted company. Vasco Velasa, there's no doubt about that.
That's a massive group of talent right there. Huge group. Martin Van Riel, who we saw come onto the circuit last year in Mallorca. He's done amazing things. Matty Sharp and Ollie Turner, the favourite.
So Turner
and Tyler Misselchuk has drifted right back.
He has indeed. There he is ahead of Igor Poliansky, three to last, and then behind them Pierre Lecour, the Frenchman. But Turner, I can see his running style has changed a lot. He's done a lot of work on his core. He had a bit of the snake running style last year. He didn't have a stronger core as some of the other athletes, but he's done a lot of work on that, and it certainly seems to be paying off. He's sitting in 8th position, 20 seconds back. Big gap back to Lecour, though, is having a very lonely race. One of our qualifiers also having a lonely race, this man. 10 seconds clear of Blumenfeld, Van Riel, Berger, Mola, Velasa, Sharp and Turner. Misselchuk 9th and controlling everything.
Yeah, I think he's just doing enough just to stay 10 seconds ahead. You can see that he keeps looking when he comes around the turnaround, just to make sure that he's staying in position. and yeah, just doing enough, not overexerting himself, keeping some energy for tomorrow. And Blumenfeld is actually just trying to gap Moeller.
In a shootout last week, Mario Moeller actually defeated Vincent Lewis in one of those French Grand Prix. A completely different looking circuit to this, a lot more open and wide in Le Boule. And it's the closest we've seen Mario Moeller to a front of a race here in Jersey. He doesn't seem to like the cold. He struggled last year in the conditions here. He struggled on this course, and it's good to see him in the semi-final right up near the front.
Josh Lewis right on the bubble at the back of this field. He's about 1:10 back, so he'll be looking at elimination soon if he doesn't get a move on. It's kind of a good course for someone who's leading like this or wants to maintain a lead. There's 3 dead turns spaced pretty much evenly around the course, so you can always keep an eye and monitor your competition. One at the end of the transition, one at the roundabout, and one up near the fan zone.
Yeah, when we looked at this course and we designed and added that extra dogleg, we're actually thinking of Henry, to be quite honest with you. The smaller,
which we always are.
We are, but we thought with the big swim, with the blue jersey, you're going to come off. You had Vincent Lewis, who's going to match you in the swim at many times, but that ability to get away and use your bike skills to open up those gaps is what we're trying to hope to create with these tight, quick courses. Big run by Christian Blumenfeld.
He only knows one way to do things, and that is with that pain face on. There's no doubt about that. Moeller is behind him. Van Riel there or thereabouts too.
It'll be interesting to see if Van Riel is going to try and bridge the gap to Lewis. Maybe drop Christian Blumenfeld, Mario Moeller, get them off his feet.
Berger there as well, and Balassa by himself in 6th position. There's some quality athletes though in that top 5.
Tyler back there with Polyansky.
Everything has to go into the athlete's box except for the runners. For the second run, they can be outside the box, if indeed they have 1 pair of runners. Some of them carry 2 pairs of runners. Polyansky, turn up. Lacour has done his best to catch up. And Freelance is going to need a very, very good swim. But into the water goes Vincent Lewis, our reigning champion and in control of this semi-final. Still a good 10 seconds, isn't it? Maybe more.
Yeah, this is definitely like one of the most difficult parts of the course. All the blood is in your legs from cycling and running, and now all of a sudden you jump into this cold water, trying to move your arms. Sometimes you cramp. It's just such a difficult feeling to feel that water. So the weaker swimmers will really struggle. You'll see them drop back, and this is where Martin van Riel can really move around and maybe try and close a gap to Lewis in front of him.
I spoke to him at breakfast this morning, Martin van Riel, and I said, how do you cope in these kind of conditions? He's like, I've been trying really hard to put on a little bit more muscle, a little bit more bulk. And then I looked at his arms and I was like, well, where did you start?
I was going to say, he's a small guy.
He's a tiny guy. Oh, and unfortunately for Josh Lewis, he was close to, he was 1:15 through the last one. But Josh Lewis from Guernsey has been eliminated. He was in the corporate race last year and he's found the step up, quite a big one.
It was
fair enough.
The Battle of the Islands here was bigger than the Vincent Lewis and all the athletes coming. This Battle of the Islands between Ollie Turner and Josh Lewis was front page news here.
It absolutely was, and he's a former swimmer. He only started triathlon in 2016, did Josh Lewis, and then went to the National Performance Centre in Cardiff with Ollie, and then went to the Commonwealth Games. So it's been an amazing couple of years for Josh Lewis, but he's found the going a bit tough here.
Yeah, he's swimming really comfortable. He's not even kicking. He's probably just trying to recover. I know from when I was racing, I used the swim to recover sometimes, and maybe he's just thinking about that as well. Maybe waiting for someone to catch up and work with someone in the rest of the race.
Imagine using the swim to recover, Macca.
Place to drown in the swim.
That is absolutely foreign.
Martin van Riel is really making his move right now. He's gapping the Christian Blumenfeld behind him. And if he works a little bit harder, maybe he can bridge that gap to Lewis.
Just everything Christian Blumenfeld does just looks flat out. He swings the arms over, he's got a high rating, he runs with his grimaced face. He's just passion personified in his racing tactics and his racing look.
He wouldn't slow down to open a door handle, he just runs straight through the door. That would be quicker, wouldn't it? That would be faster. Does everything at 110%. He's going to need to give all of that. He does look comfortable though, Vincent Lewis. I don't think there's a point during Super League racing so far where he hasn't looked comfortable.
You had him under pressure here last year, I will say, Henry, on that in this enduro format. And I remember in that last race of the enduro format in the final we're going to see tomorrow with the eliminations happening at the back, Richard Murray rode across to you guys, but at one point there I actually thought Vincent Lewis looked vulnerable and you guys were gone, but he just has this uncanny ability to measure his effort and close gaps when he needs to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's not a world champion for no reason. Yeah. He's a very talented athlete. And yeah, he's going to be there no matter what. I mean, you can throw anything at him, flat tire in Singapore. He still manages to come out with that 4th position overall. So, I mean, he's always going to be there no matter what happens. And right now, he's just in cruise control in front of the race.
And as you call, Martin Van Riel has separated himself from that second group. And if you can have a quick transition and maybe Vincent wants some company, maybe he doesn't, allow them to jump off and escape the two of them.
Yeah, it will be good if Lewis can maybe just look over his shoulder and see what's happening. They are training partners, so maybe he might just decide to cycle with them, but we'll see what happens.
Ollie Turner's moved down into 11th position. He's starting to lose a little bit of time to people like Friedelance, Polyansky and Sharp. But as Vincent Lewis comes back into transition, we'll check in again with Joe and Jody.
Yeah, but it seems that this group have broken away. We've been a little bit on island watch down here. Obviously, Josh Lewis has been eliminated, but Ollie Turner, he seems to be falling back, but did he go out a bit too fast?
He had an amazing swim bike run first leg, and he had to put it all in the gamble. He had to try and do it. He's got to go for the fastest split now. He's got to try and get some more places up, though. He's got to hang on, otherwise he's going to get eliminated and not through to tomorrow.
And out of the front pack chasing Vincent Louis, who do you think looks like they might be in with a chance of perhaps closing that gap?
To be honest, Mario Mola's doing an awesome job. This is not his best format. He doesn't really like this, but he's doing a great job and he's up there, and you know, he's got a great run leg on him, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
Certainly a fast race. Back to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Pierre Lecour has really moved up after that swim.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he really has.
I'll tell you who in terms of contracted athletes, is struggling. Now, the 2 Canadians still, Muselchuk and Sharp, both have been good in this format before, but both look, especially I saw Matt Sharp's face there as he went through. He's in 7th position. He looks like he's almost burned all his matches, but we'll see. We'll keep a look at the 2 Canadians there, but Valasa is impressing me still where he is. Let's hope he can make it through. That's Michael Arashida coming out of the water. As we move into the second bike, and it's 6 seconds now, so this time 1 triathlon ago it was 10 seconds and now it's down to 6. So Van Riel is all by himself and a good 10 seconds ahead of Blumenfeld and Bergier and Mola. So you'd have to say they're probably your top 5 barring incident, as we are back to Lecour, who has moved from about 12th to 6th, so he's starting to come into his own a little bit. Sharp and Valasa.
Looks like Lewis is not waiting for anyone. He's making Van Riel work really hard. I think he really wants to have that short shoot advantage tomorrow, so he's not giving anything up to chance.
That was Arashida in transition. I don't think he's going to get out of transition. I think he's going to be eliminated, which is unfortunate for the American.
Van Riel really handled the bike very well. He's a small guy. He's from Belgium, I guess a biking nation, and he seems to be in the pursuit of Vincent Lewis.
Yeah, he's not scared to go on a breakaway or go solo. So, I mean, I think he's in his element right now. I think he will catch up to Lewis, and I think we can get a really nice run battle, but I think Lewis might just have one on him.
Yeah, he looks like he's putting a lot of effort in to catch up, whereas Vince has been maintaining throughout the last 3 or 4 legs. Blumenfeld leading this group of 3. The 3 of them together have such an impressive resume, but they're all chasing this man, and I think it was 6 seconds. It's come down a fair bit from that as they come around the roundabout for the second time.
Yeah, he had a look over his shoulder there. I think he's probably thinking in his mind, he's probably going to catch. Maybe I'll just ease off the gas just a little bit, be a little bit more safe. Or, yeah, he's still fiddling with his shoes, trying to get comfortable.
It's one of those things, if you're Martin Van Riel, you're sitting back there, you see the guy in front of you, and it's just a tendency to want to close that gap, and you probably should monitor your effort a little bit more, but you just want to close in and get a rest on that wheel. So
races are races,
a race is a race.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Vincent's probably thinking, oh, look, I'll try and get to as easy as possible, and Martin's thinking, I want to close this gap.
But he's got to look at the run and go, do I, considering what effort I'm putting in now, is it all going to be wasted in the fact that Vince is probably going to have a lot more to give to me at the end? And we know that, and you've been on the end of it a few times, he's got this kick in the last 400 metres, which is almost unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean, I think Martin is actually doing a very good race right here. I mean, you don't want to just give it to Lewis in open arms. So, I mean, he's really racing aggressive, trying to catch up. And yeah, you never know. Maybe anything can happen on the run.
Anything can happen on the run. We know that Super League has delivered some bizarre scenarios in the past, but full credit to Martin Van Riel.
He's on the map.
He only had one round of Super League last year, finished 4th in that round, but he's back in. He's going to be, across the season, a feature. He confirmed to me this morning he's not going to miss one. And well, he's already pretty much got his Olympic spot assured, being from Belgium. There's 2 guys who have kind of, got the results in the bank. So
it looks like the top automatic qualifiers will come from this group here.
There's no one going to run into that group. There's too much running power right there.
Exactly.
What do they do though, these guys now? Do they decide to just head home without spending too much energy? Or, I mean, I can't imagine Christian Blumenfeld doesn't look at Mario Moller and go, I'm going to beat you, no matter what.
I think Christian Blumenfeld still looks up the road at Vincent Lewis. I'm half a chance. His attitude's amazing. What is on offer right now, and I was just thinking, Martin Van Riel was putting a lot of effort. It's this bike jersey. The fastest bike split today gets a jersey. There's $10,000 up for grabs at the end of the season. It's a jersey worth wearing and going after. And Martin's bike ride, then he's closed 6 seconds in 2 laps. You've got Vincent Lewis off the front who rides these lines very, very well. He could grab himself a bike jersey.
He could mess it up if they start being really tactical now. They'll lose their gap that they got over the group behind them. And then, yes, with the green points jersey, he would really want to keep that pace up right now.
Yeah.
It would be good if Martin Van Riel can come in front. Although he did spend a lot of work trying to catch up, but it seems like Vincent is now pushing a little bit harder.
And this is where the wind comes across. The wind's coming straight across off the marina there, and it says that this is where I was with Vincent, and he was saying these barricade covers, the material ones, allowed the wind to come through, so he's going to hug it very, very wide in that section, which is exactly what he did.
Does Vince push a little bit harder here to make sure that there's no chance for Van Riel to collect himself a little bit before this run, now that he's spent to catch up? You need to make sure that Van Riel has to keep pushing to stay there.
I think he was hoping that Van Riel was going to come in front and maybe help him out a little bit so that he can just have a little bit of a breather. Yeah, there we go. He's been out in front the entire race so far, so that will catch up with you just a little bit. And I think he's being smart now. He let Van Riel go in front of him, and he's probably thinking about that sprint home at the end of the run.
These guys look like they've switched off a little bit. They're going to let those 2 go up the road.
Yeah, I think they've already decided that the winner is going to come from the front 2, so they just kind of in cruise mode, making sure that they make that top 5.
Yeah, they lost 2 seconds in that lap to the leaders, so they haven't sat up, but they're just. I mean, these 2 obviously are not going as quick as they were early doors either. So 23 seconds the gap, and
yeah, Vincent Louis, I think, is just going to be looking at Van Riel right until the transition, maybe make a move on him, dismounting his bike.
The 2 of them through transition, nothing between them. Van Riel now in front on the last of 4 laps. We've got 1 run home, 1.6 kilometres, 2 laps of the 800-metre course. Vincent Lewis holds the fastest run around here with an average 2:57 pace. And some guy who's slow with a 2:59 pace called Schoeman is second.
He's got nothing.
Yeah.
He's got nothing.
No, he used to be good, though, as I recall. This is 2019, though, now. The new day.
No, it's great, right? And these 2 train together. They'd be very, very comfortable in each other's company. They're friends. They spend all the year together. They've had great seasons between them. And
yeah, there we go. Lewis just came in front now, making sure he comes into that transition
well,
first.
it matters. He's remarkable.
Off the bike they get. Van Riel was top 10 in his splits in Mallorca for the run, but Lewis is our best runner. In fact, he had the top split from 4 of 6 stages in Jersey in 2018. In fact, of the 23 total runs in 2018 in Super League, Vincent Lewis set the fastest time in 12 of them, and he missed 2 because he had a puncture. And when he's made it to the last run of the day, as he's done now, he's finished with the fastest split 6 of 7 times. And the other time he finished second.
It's not bad.
So he gets better as the days and weeks and stages go on. There are some immensely qualified athletes in 3rd, 4th and 5th in Berger, who's had a great transition there and comes out ahead of Mola and Blumenfeld.
Well, the pressure's not off completely. You can see this group with Matt Sharp, Vasco and Pierre Lecour, even Arnie Turner and Tyler Misselchuk. So I wouldn't say that the qualifiers would come from that 3rd group behind Louis and Van Riel. I think there's still a good race on our hands there.
Well, these guys are racing for time as well, right? So there's the 5 up the time. You've got the 5 fastest times after that are going to get through to the final. So they need to continually push and stay as close to that 5th position as they can.
Yeah, Louise is already putting the pressure on very early on. I think Van Riel kind of accepted it, but maybe he comes into his stride later on.
It's a short shoot. It's thinking of the short shoot. I think
exactly right.
Martin's has cooked it on the bike, but said, okay, look, there's no use playing. I'm going to sit here, take 2nd, cover that.
Yeah, Lewis is not taking any chances. He's not even waiting for the sprint at the end. He's just breaking him in the beginning.
So it's a British protectorate is Jersey, but it is all about France today. We're only 5 miles off the coast. Normandy, the closest across the water. And Cassandra Beaugrand quickest overall in the women's 2 semi-finals. And Vincent Lewis will set a blistering pace in this one. It looks like he's going to win his semi-final, and it'll take a big effort in semi-final B to best him. He's already put in about 40 metres on Van Riel after they come out of the bike. He's got a very good run. Does Vincent Lewis.
I think Martin Van Riel just went a little bit into the red, trying to catch up on that bike, and he's really feeling it now on that run.
Well, he's just about got 2nd place wrapped up. He's 28 seconds clear of Mola, Blumenfeld and Berger, who are a further 20 seconds ahead of Lecour, Velasa, Sharp, Turner, Mislachuk, Polyansky and Friedelance, who has fallen foul of the 90-second mark there. There are our 2 leaders. And it's just about a victory lap for Vincent Lewis. Could be 2018, looking at that exact shot. Except in 2018, at least on Saturday, we were right behind him. Let's not forget that.
That was a great race. A great race.
Yeah, I think the course here in Jersey really suits the well-balanced, all-rounded athlete. And Vincent Louis obviously has all of that. He's a great swimmer, he's a great biker, he's a great runner. And yeah, I mean, if you have a weakness, it's going to show. And it's really good to see Mario Mola pushing off ahead of Christian Blumenfeld. I mean, he's not known for being a strong swimmer, but he's right up here in the mix, in the front.
It's the first time I've ever seen Christian Blumenfeld comfortable sitting on someone's shoulder.
Yeah, me too. I saw his face.
Like, wow,
where's the pain face?
Yeah, he said, look, I'm through to the final tomorrow. I'll just sit off, a world champion shoulder, as you do.
Great work from our young athlete in the white jersey, Vasco Velasa, who is hanging in with Pierre Lecour and ahead of Matt Sharp, one of our contracted athletes, and Tyler Mislachuk as well.
Yeah, Vincent Louis is probably thinking about the race tomorrow already. He's already turned off the gas. He's pumping up the crowd. The crowd is electric out there. I was out there earlier. It's amazing.
It looks like a transition crowd, but it's at the back end of the course.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fantastic. We're bringing the fan zone in, and fans lining both sides here for a little bit of a victory 500 metres for Vincent Lewis. There aren't enough superlatives to describe how this guy has come onto the scene. There were, I guess, maybe 12 or 18 months ago, we started talking about him in a Super League sense as Sylvain Friedelance sees the yellow flag. And we talked about maybe whether he had the consistency or the willpower to at least win on the WTS. And then this year he's come out, he's been in the top 6 every time. He needed to finish 5th in Lausanne. He did that and won the World Championships. He's put any of those ideas to bed. He's now, not only he's the quickest, he's got everything. He's got all the things in his arsenal that he needs, and he's got the consistency to deliver week in, week out.
Well, he won those 2 grand finals every year. He used to come out every year and take on that grand final and win it. And in the old days, that used to be the World Championships. You know, you had to win that last event. He did that twice. And this year he showed his consistency. There was always a question mark over that consistency, and he's the current world champion. He's remarkable all the way through Super League Series last year, racing New Henry, and now through that WTS Series as your 2019 world champion going into the Tokyo Olympics.
He's just waved to the crowd for the whole way round here.
He did a victory lap.
Yeah, he knows exactly how to do it. He's winning fans every time. He comes out here. He goes all the way around the bottom end of the crowd.
A little longer.
Look at this.
A little longer the run, why not?
Oh, why not? He has been fantastic in this one, and this will send shockwaves throughout semi-final B, let alone the rest of the quality athletes who finish behind him in this one. But he jogs it in. Van Riel behind him, also very happy to get through. Congratulations to Vincent Lewis, who is our semi-final A winner here from Martin Van Riel, who has been unreal. Blumenfeld, of course, he had to win in that little pack. He found enough in the end from Mola and Leo Bergier. So 2 Frenchmen through, just as there was in semi-final A in the women's, with Sandra Daudet and Cassandra Beaugrand, and Pierre Lecour knows that he's on the bubble, so he is putting it in. Vasco Viaca as well.
You realise just to hit that finish straight. Hang on a
Yep,
sec.
hang on, I've got to keep going.
Time.
And Velasa comes in
Matty Sharp
at velocity. Sharp too.
Smart racing, Matt.
Setting these times and hoping that they are going to be enough. And Mislachuk will have to have a lot go his way if indeed he is going to make it through at 48 seconds back. So he's at 36.51. But 36.03 is a very fast time. Polyansky coming in 10th position. And Ollie Turner, who it doesn't look like we're going to see. In fact, we definitely are going to see on Sunday in 11th position, Ollie Turner. But congratulations to him. His first swing bike run was outstanding, but he just didn't quite have enough. And did that play out, Henry Schumann, just about exactly as you thought it was going to?
Yeah, I mean, you can never count out Vincent Louis. He was always going to be up there in the front. I knew Martin Van Riel was going to be one of the top contenders, being a strong swimmer. Seeing Christian Blumenfeld and Mario Mola up there in the front was good to see as some of the weaker swimmers. And Tyler Mislachuk, like, I think he might be disappointed with that.
I think he will be. I think his weekend is most likely over, depending on what happens in semi-final B, which will be coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, they'll head down to Joankia, who has our winner, Vincent Lewis.
Yes, I have the winner, Vincent, here with me. Vincent, you looked so relaxed. Was that as easy as it looked?
No. It was a bit of a poker face. That wasn't really easy, but yeah, by the end I got a good gap, and I know Martin Van Riel. I'm training with him every day, so I know that I'm a bit superior to him on the run. So yeah, I just went easy for the last lap and trying to warm up the crowd for tomorrow.
And you did let him go in front of you at one point. How hard was he pushing you?
Yeah, he made the gap. He joined me on the second round on the bike. I know he's really strong on the bike, so I was expecting him to bridge this gap, and that was quite fun to have him with me on the bike. He's my training mate. We know each other really well. So our coach was on the side just saying, don't do anything stupid, boys, don't crash. You got 25 seconds gap, and yeah, we just made a bit of a pace line together.
And of course, you did choose to go out hard like that on your own. Tomorrow, do you think you'll run it differently?
Obviously, after the swim, I was only with Tyler Mislachuk, and he couldn't stay with me on the first lap of the bike. So I was just like, I'm not gonna slow down and wait. And laps after laps, I get used to the track, and yeah, I can corner really well, and that was super nice. I mean, the bike was really handy, and that was a really nice race.
Well, you've certainly made an impression with this crowd. How is the crowd helping you along today?
Yeah, crazy. I think I got my spot with the crowd already last year, and so this year I saw I had a bit of gap, and I was like, okay, I need to cheer them and try to warm them up a bit for tomorrow. And I hope despite if we have bad weather tomorrow, the crowd will be still there to support us.
We will all be cheering along the way. Thank you so much. Well done. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
The crowd certainly enjoying every moment of that, and it certainly was a masterclass from Vincent Lewis, who he can say you can say things like, I knew I was superior, but the fact is that he was.
He is. Yeah, he is. He's amazing to watch.
He's a confidence athlete.
He's a confidence athlete. He's got no kinks in his armour. He swims. He's one of the best swimmers in the sport. He rides a bike amazing, and his run's remarkable.
Let's have a look at those times. Vincent Lewis finished in the end 9 seconds ahead, 36.03. That's the mark, so look for that in semi-final B. Van Riel, Blumenfeld, Mola and Vergier. So in a sense, the cream rising to the top, at least in terms of resumes. There's a lot of world championships between the four of them. Pierre Lecour did so well after a little bit of a slow start. He'll be nervous. 36.32 is the mark, so anywhere in that middle to high 36s is where we need to look at our bubble athletes. For the other one, Vasco Velasa, great result from him. Congratulations. Matt Sharp and Tyler Mislachuk, the two Canadians, will be very worried about what they turned in just then. And the weather is turning a little colder. Maybe if we get some rain, that might help out those two guys. Igor Polyansky in 10th position. So a couple of interesting results from the Canadians, but at the front, it was all about Vincent Lewis. And we'll find out right now exactly how much Martin Van Riel had left on that run. We'll go down to Joe.
Yes, Martin, you were the only man out there who was able to catch Vincent up. How important was it for you, and how hard was that? Did you have anything left?
Not much, as you saw in the last run. I gave it my all to catch him on the swim and the bike in the second round, but he was a perfect aiming point, and I know what he's capable of, so I know if I'm close to him, I'm in a really good position.
And you had an incredible bike leg in the middle, obviously the one where you caught him up. Were you thinking about that bike jersey? There's a big prize at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bit of a title to defend. The people always call me a good biker, so here it's where you can prove it. You get a jersey for it, so yeah, that's obviously something that's in the back of my mind.
And now you've made Vincent aware of your presence. Will you do things slightly differently tomorrow?
I mean, tomorrow it's going until the line, and then we can see where we go. Today, I think I try to save a little bit more because, yeah, I know that Vincent is a really good finisher. So, but tomorrow I'm going to try to make it more difficult.
Well, you've made a bit of a statement today, so good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic swim biker is Martin Van Riel, and he certainly showed that today. Didn't quite have it left in terms of the legs on the run. Let's have a look back to, it seems like a long time ago, it was 36 minutes ago, but semi-final A, and it was a very good swim early on from Lewis, and pretty much he was never headed from this point.
Yeah, from this point, it was always his race to lose. Yeah, just cruising through, making it really easy, looked really easy, and really comfortable. And yeah.
10 seconds off the top there, and he maintained throughout. Of course, 3 dead turns allowed him to have a good look at everyone. That was when we kind of knew that Tyler Mislachuk was having a tough day, racked the bike front on, which we saw happen in the women's race for those who were under a bit more pressure. But those who had enough to think about it made sure that they were racking back on. Lewis in the second run, second swim was good. Van Riel really bridged in there, and he was 6 seconds back coming out of the water. Bridged the gap, but had to work hard, and as Vince said, training partners, they worked their way around. Van Riel had his turn at the front there for a second. It was interesting, the turn of phrase, that he let him have a go at the front. But when it came onto the run, no one can match Vincent Lewis's pace, at least no one who's out there in semi-final A. We'll find out in semi-final B, and then it was a little bit of a victory lap from this point onwards, Macca.
Oh, without question. And when you look at the stats and you look at the data of all these enduro races that Vincent Lewis has done, he gets stronger and stronger the more triathlons you put in a row. It's remarkable. His drop-off rate between those races is less than anyone else, and you saw that in that second round. So it's full kudos to that man on screen, Martin Van Riel, to be able to ride across to him.
So in 2022, when we do the Super Enduro and make it 5 triathlons back-to-back, Vince will just get better and better.
You should just make it a race where you just lose one every triathlon.
What about a 20...
and you just
like
keep
a 24-hour enduro like they do in motorsport, just keep going.
Just keep going and
distance.
Going. Would you do it, Henry?
Distance.
We'll do it if you're in.
Yeah, definitely. Why not? It's Super League.
Yeah.
Same amount of prize money, though. Let's go down now to Joe, who's alongside Jodie Stimson and Graham Atchison.
Yeah, well, Jodie, what an interesting race. Vincent getting pushed like that. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, Vincent definitely wanted that short shoot, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. But Martin Van Riel as well, absolutely amazing. But you got to say that Vincent Louis is going to be favourite going through to tomorrow.
But Martin made a little bit of a statement showing that he can almost keep up with him. You don't think he has it in him?
Not for the win, no. I'm going to say not for the win. He showed a fantastic bike leg, but Vincent's just another level.
Okay, well, Vincent, of course, will have that short shoot as well, so that will help. We've got Graham here, our analyst. Let's look ahead at semi-final B. There's a lot of strong swimmers. Can you separate them?
For me, this semi-final is all about Brownlee versus Eden, I think. Brownlee, we've got the credentials, everybody knows who he is, what he can do here. But then you got the new guy, Gustav Eden. He's performed really well in the ITU this year. And also the recently crowned 70.3 champion. So those two, I think, are the two to watch in this race.
But of course, a 70.3 Ironman, that is very different from the short races we have here today. How much difference will that make?
I've no idea. I'm very excited to see, to be honest. I think it's, as you say, the translation from that length of distance to this short, sharp racing, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on.
Okay, and back to you, Jodie. You know all too well what it is like to race multiple days in a row. What do the athletes have to go through tonight to get this race out of their legs?
Yeah, you have to, recovery is absolutely key. You can't then just stop the race and then go and sit in your hotel room. You need to have a good warm down, you need to get that lactic acid out of your body, you need to eat well, and then hopefully try and sleep. That's the key factors to then having a good race tomorrow.
And in terms of things like nutrition, what are the sort of foods that athletes will want to eat tonight? Because you don't want to be too full, but obviously there's a lot of carbo loading that has to be done.
Well, as soon as you finish the race, you want to get that protein shake straight down. Yeah, that's the key. Initial, you want to get that within like a key 20 minutes, and then have a good warm down. And then you want to keep it simple tonight. You want to kind of have those, pizzas, rice, just to kind of keep it simple on your stomach, because you've worked hard today and you need to be able to digest it ready for tomorrow.
Okay, and another hugely important factor of racing is, of course, the psychology. And you've got certain athletes today that had some shocks in their race. Emma Jeffcoat, for example. How does one get past that for tomorrow?
You kind of use that aggression, I think, going through to tomorrow. She was definitely at a disadvantage, and she still made it through. So hopefully tomorrow she has a cleaner run and she gets to kind of be on a bit more of a level pegging field. But she had to work really hard today, so recovery is absolutely key for her.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the expert insights, and we'll send it back to the studio.
Thank you very much. Great insights and nice honesty there from Jodie Simpson. Does Martin Van Riel have all it takes to win? No, I don't think so. And that's what we want from our commentary team. And fair enough, though. Can anyone beat Vincent Lewis? That is the big, big question. He's thrown down the gauntlet with a 36.03. We'll keep an eye on the times for semi-final B. It could be a little bit of variable weather out there, which might skew it. And I think that's really the only chance that people like Vasco Velasa, Matt Sharp, Tyler Mislachuk have of getting into the finals tomorrow.
My thoughts are that this next semi-final is going to be a little bit more tactical. It's going to group up a little bit more. We've got a lot of strong swimmers, and I think the positions are going to change quite a bit. So it will be quite interesting to see. Maybe the fastest qualifiers might come from Group A.
Well, it would be interesting, as you said. I think that the swim power in this group, I know that Matt Howes has stepped out. He's not racing, I heard, but other than that, the swimming pedigree in this group is remarkable. And guys like Hayden Wild, who are not known for their swim, could find themselves drifting a bit further back than they need to be. They've got to make the move up on the bike. He's very technically astute on the bike. Even Gustav Eden, who's not really a super swimmer, could find himself in trouble. So that speed off the start in this semi-final will be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. But I do think Hayden and Gustav Eden are definitely going to have to work together and really work that second swim really hard. With the strong swimmers, they'll be trying to create that gap on that second swim.
All the setups here you can see in transition are vaguely similar. What do you check on when, what do you make sure is perfect just before you head out?
You want to make sure that your shoes are really well open, that you can really get your foot in nice and easily, and make sure your helmet is in the right position, in a solid position, so that the wind won't blow it off. I've had that a few times where the wind has blown off the helmet, the official put it back, and the straps were all tangled, so I spent like 10 seconds just trying to untangle that. So you really want to make sure that everything is solid down. You know exactly where you're going to rack your bike and grab your shoes as well.
Do you think that official tangled the straps on purpose? Have you thought about that?
No, I don't think so.
No, you're too polite. If Vince was in here, he would have said, yeah, for 100%. That's exactly what happened. There's no doubt about it. We're going to head to a VT right now. In fact, we're going to see something which was a little bit different. It was Sunrise Yoga. Hayden Wild featured in that one, as did Vicky Holland. Out in the castle, if you don't mind, that we see in the back of shot. This is how it all played out. I was in bed. I missed it all. But this is Sunrise Yoga.
Today's class is really going to be focusing on preparing your body for a weekend of triathlon racing, but also clearing the mind, focusing the body and working on the energy of the spirit.
Yeah, we've come up to the castle here and we've been doing some yoga, which is a pretty nice way to start your morning.
A 30-minute morning session to wake up the body and get the muscles moving and get ready for the day.
It's good for, firstly, a bit of relaxation, and also really good for your strength, your posture and your mobility.
Yeah, I'd say give it a go, try your downward dog, see if you can do your warrior pose. You can have a bit of a laugh doing it as well.
The reception we get here every year, we feel so welcomed and it's just a brilliant vibe.
Yeah, like in New Zealand, we're a super young country, so we don't have castles or anything like that. Coming to Jersey and Europe as a whole and you know, getting to look at these old beautiful buildings, it's pretty cool to look around and look at the history.
We spend a fair bit of time here before the race, and it's one of the joys of our job really, that we can use that to go out and see new places.
Yeah, it's been really good, so pretty, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful place, and the Super League atmosphere, it's real kind of, you know, feels like a family. It's just lovely to be around.
Oh, I think it's as good as anywhere that we can race. We've got a really great race location here. I really love how tight and compact it is. It makes it really easy for spectators to see everything, to get involved, and to really make us feel like we're superstars.
An early start and a spot of yoga. Let's hope it helps them out this weekend. You'll see more of Hayden Wilde in the second semi-final, and amongst those great athletes will be Olympic silver medalist Johnny Brownlee. During the week, Joe caught up with a Brit to talk about the run discipline.
Okay, well, I've got Johnny Brownlee with me, who was 5th last year, but more importantly, had the red jersey, which means you're a fantastic runner. You're going to tell us a little bit about this run course, and it's a bit different this year, isn't it?
Yeah, the run course has changed from last year. Firstly, the roundabout bit where we're doing the bike has been taken out, and there's been another dead turn put on the run course just behind us over here. So it's different for us because normally we race on 2.5 kilometre loops where you got lots of straight lines and you can get into your rhythm. But here, it's twisting and turning. You're never going in a straight line for probably more than 150 metres. So it's about going fast in those corners, having a short stride around the corners, getting your stride fast out the corners, and then going again. So it's very, very different. Like I say, it's lots of short efforts rather than one long effort.
So what you're saying is it's a fast race, it's a shorter run race than normal, and you've got all these crazy twists and turns. Okay, so what sort of position would you prefer to be in to take those turns?
In a run course like this, you want to really be at the front or second person if it's really, really windy. If you're 5 or 6 people behind, you're going to be constantly slowing down to the corners. Then the person at the front is going to be coming out while you're still going into the corner. So you have to catch up and be sprinting out of them. So yeah, in the first 2 positions, it's very, very windy, so you want to be sheltered if it are into a headwind. Otherwise, if you're too far back, you spend your whole time sprinting, going easy, sprinting, going easy. So yeah, that makes it good, it makes it interesting racing, because instead of one of those people who can hide in the pack, you can't do that here, you've got to be near the front.
Okay, and of course if you are at the back, you've also got time penalties and things to think about. But of course you'll be a bit more sheltered by the wind. What might you be thinking about if you're falling to the back of the pack?
Well, if I'm struggling and getting dropped a little bit, or starting to tire, there's a few cues you can tell yourself. Well, firstly, I tell myself to hold on to that pack for as long as you can. So I might break the course down to sections and go, you're not getting dropped until that corner, and then you can ease off. And just before you hit that corner, you set another goal and say, no, I'm staying on this pack until the next corner. And secondly, for me, when I start to struggle, I start to tighten up, work a bit too hard, my back starts to bend, my fists are pumping, whereas I tell myself to relax the arms and become, still run fast but more efficient. Because sometimes when you tire, you start to work it too hard, and actually you slow down because you're trying to work too hard.
So lots of thinking in this race, but trying not to do too much overthinking. Okay, so what would be the ideal position for you? You've actually improved every single Super League. So what are you hoping for this time round?
I'm hoping to try and get on the podium. I go to every race that I do, try and be on the podium, so I'll try and do that again. But I think it's going to be an interesting race. I think obviously the heats on the Saturday is about getting through the heats and feeling good. And then on Sunday, I think the person who wins that race is going to be the person who's brave but isn't stupid, because there's going to be a bit of rain and wind, so the bike course is going to be a bit technical and slippy. So you want to take risks to save energy and not be too far back, but at the same time, they've got to be kind of calculated risks.
Okay, and one more. It's quite an unpredictable event, obviously. What's the craziest thing you've witnessed or experienced on one of the runs in Super League?
I think for me, what I found strange is when we're running and then going to swim afterwards. So you're running next to someone and they're putting the hat and goggles on next to you, and you're thinking, what are you doing? Especially in Singapore when it was about 40 degrees and people are putting the hat on, getting hot heads and then diving in the water. For us, that's very, very, very different. Normally, we've come from a world where it's swim, bike, run, finish. Whereas on Sunday, it'd be swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run.
So much to think about. Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck. We know that you want to be up there at the front, so do your friends and family in Britain. So good luck, Johnny.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Johnny Brownlee, there he is, part of the famous Brownlee brothers that have dominated at least headlines in recent years. He's, of course, an Olympic silver medalist. His brother, Ali, the reigning Olympic gold medalist, won't be competing in Tokyo. He's going instead for the Hawaii Ironman World Championships title in a couple of weeks' time. But Johnny, a superstar in his own right, 2-time world sprint champion, obviously fated here in Great Britain and in his home Yorkshire, part of Team GB, etc. All eyes are on him here.
Oh, without question, yeah. He also won the Olympic bronze medal. We don't tend to talk about that a lot because they've got so many medals, but he's remarkable. He's been part of that famous Brownlee brother clan forever.
We'll head back down now to Joe now as we head into semi-final B. There's not a lot of time. In fact, we're right there, Joe.
We are right there now. We are right there indeed. Now this is known as the swimmers semi. Many strong swimmers in this group. I'm joined by Gustav Eden, who just won the 70.3 Ironman. How is that endurance going to help you out today?
I think the endurance will help, but swimming is weak, and I'm in a swimming group now, so we'll see how it pans out. But hopefully I can do some damage in the second round. But I'm not really hopeful on the first swim here today.
And it will go off fast. How much will you enjoy at least having the chance to sprint and do something different today?
Yeah, it's very different from the 70.3 World Champ, so it's going to be cool to see what I have left, but it's going to be hard.
Excellent. A quick word with Jonas Stromberg here. Jonas, I know you really wanted to be in Super League a couple of seasons ago. How does it feel to be here? And I know that you're going to the Olympics as well.
I know, it's fantastic. First time. It's actually my third time here now in Jersey, and I'm looking forward to a new season now in Super League. And let's go for it.
And what was it that made you want to compete in Super League so bad? Because I know you really had to ask everyone a couple of years ago to be allowed in.
I know, just super fast racing. I love it, going hard from start, from the gun. I will try to do today the same.
Okay, let's take a little walk down the pontoon. One thing I can let you know here is that the conditions have definitely, the temperature's dropped a little bit, so that will probably affect times today. So they will be wanting to get out fast because of that drop in temperature. We've got Hayden Wild here. Hayden, I'll just grab a quick word. I know they call you the Falcon. What kind of qualities does the Falcon have when it comes to triathlon?
Yeah, I guess a good bit of personality, post-race interviews, and yeah, dabble in a bit of triathlon at the same time. The Falcons normally don't swim in the water, but I know this is the swim heat, but we'll give it a go and see if we can hold it up with the big boys. So no, it should be good fun. Excited.
And what are you hoping for today?
I'm hoping to get to Sunday. That's a big goal, but yeah, just a consistent no error race, and no errors should hopefully lead to Sunday's race.
And we saw you doing a bit of sunrise yoga this morning. Did that help to stretch the muscles out?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, we're ready to go. All cylinders firing.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Well, we will let the boys take to the line. They are just getting ready. They are just keeping warm. As I mentioned, the conditions have dropped a little bit, so it will be slightly different racing. It's probably going to be very tactical. They don't have the race favourites, but there are some very strong swimmers amongst them, so expect a very fast start.
Thanks, Joe. Some great answers there, and it was good to see some honesty as well from Gustav Eden, who knows that he is up against it despite already holding a world championship. There is some fantastic swimmers. You can see Matt Hauser there in 7. In fact, he's pulled out with a chest infection, and he actually held the blue swimmers jersey at the end of last year. So that's helpful for guys like Con Doherty from Ireland, who's having his first taste, Aidan Longcroft-Harris. Anthony Poujard is fantastic. And our junior winner down there, Simon Henslett, we have to shout him out as well. He won the junior race this morning. It means he got a shot on the pontoon here, and he took it, only 19 years of age. So he is he's up against it in this one. Chris Perham as well at home. He's a great swimmer, Macca.
He's a big swimmer, and what was interesting is Gustav Eden. He defeated Alistair Brownlee in that World Championship event only 2 weeks ago in Nice. It was a remarkable performance, and to stand up here in a Super League race only 2 weeks later is, that's a range. We always talk about Ben Canute, who's also in this semi-final, who's got a big range, but now Gustav Eden is barking up that same tree.
What are you thinking if you're Simon Henslett, having already raced this morning and then found yourself in a lineup along with these guys?
You take that long glance, don't you? Go, wow.
What's happening?
Look at these guys.
But, he won gold in the Euro Cup in Tijuvaros. He's the German national junior champ. He also was part of the mixed team relay, who are the German Euro junior champs as well. So he's got form. He doesn't have quite the form of some of the guys at the other end of the pontoon, Johnny Brownlee, Ben Canute, etc. Another guy we haven't mentioned is Aurelien Raphael, who is another fantastic swimmer and a very confident fella as well. But we'll get to that in just a second. First, let's call the start of semi-final B, the last race of the day, and it looks like a clean start from everyone. If anything, I think Ben Canute got off a little bit slowly. Simon Henslett is out there going hell for leather, as they all are, and someone got caught up there in the middle. And sometimes the middle, 5, 6, 7, 8, it can get pretty lively.
young junior got off super fast. The problem is you've got to move across from right to left, and that inside line, I've always seen Henry Schumann, well, he's sitting right next to me, you always tend to take that inside line. It moves quicker. We saw in the men's first semi-final, that side was quicker. We saw in both the women's semi-finals, they seem to get that inside line to the first swim buoy, and these guys have to move across, which makes them vulnerable to get caught up in congestion.
There were people that chose the outside line though, because maybe they wanted to stay out of that congestion, but it seems to have not worked. It takes the strength of someone like Katie Zafiris to be able to come around and put herself in that position.
You got to back your swim. You got to be a swimmer to be able to do that, to have that confidence to be able to get off the blocks fast and move across.
Yeah, we have a lot of strong swimmers in this group, and you can already see 5 of them almost in a row just trying to move up there. It was Anthony Pujard who actually picked himself on the outside, and he was hoping to swim around them, and you can just see that having that longer line is actually a bit of a disadvantage. And Aurelian Raphael, I think it is,
yeah, Raphael and Schomburg,
and then Johnny Brownlee
inside.
Oh, it's getting messy now.
Hayden Wild's just patted someone on the back there.
Gustav Eden is just there at the back of that.
We expected that. With this much firepower in the water, it's going to be a lot more congestion than we think we saw in that first semi-final, where there's a little bit more gaps between the swimmers. I think there's so much firepower. It's Wild and Gustav Eden that have to stay as close to these guys as possible.
Yeah, Aurelian Raphael is already pushing the pace. He's already got a couple of meters just between the 3 of them, spearheading that chase.
Who's that off the back there who's left themselves a lot to do coming up to this next transition? I can't quite glance it, but the young junior that we raced this morning is sitting really comfortably. Even though he's third, he's at the back, he's got some people around him, which is the place to be. You just don't want to be on your own in these type of races.
Aurelian Raphael at the front, as you say, stringing them out a little bit, the 31-year-old.
Yeah, he'll be going for that blue jersey as well, trying to score those 5 points.
31 years of age makes you old in Super League terms. Normally by that stage you're going for the longer ones. Chris Perham there in about 5th position.
And that was Aaron Royal, they went past it, Johnny Brownlee.
But it's Schomburg and Raphael at the moment. Jonas Schomburg has really been a great story, Macca, if you like, as part of Super League. He's really come into his own around the same time that Super League picked him up, and now he finds himself qualified for the Olympics. But before I get your thoughts on that, they're about at the exit, so we'll go down to Joe right now.
Yep, they are just coming out of the water. Aurelian Raphael there got off to a strong start. Was that tactical?
Yeah, definitely. Vincent Louis in the pontoon draw said he will be one of the first out of the water. He's not the strongest of runners, so he'll want this break to come to something.
And we heard that Hayden Wild was a little bit pushed about, touching people in the swim. What was going on there, the washing machine?
Yeah, that's his weakness, to be honest. If you go round in the first few, round the buoy, then you're clear and you can go through at speed. But then if you're 3 or 4 people back, then you're 4 people wide, and it's just a fight to get round that first buoy.
Okay, well, let's go catch up with him in transition.
Schomburg leading in, and a great swim from Aidan Longcroft Harris, who is a noted swimmer, one of our qualifiers to come through. You can see Aurelian coming out there, number 12, the Frenchman, but Longcroft Harris comes out in front of him.
Schomburg has had a really good transition. He really wanted to get in front. Gustav Eden has actually made a lot of work for himself. He's towards the back end, but he's in the group.
It was a big transition from Gustav and Hayden Wild there.
Dorian Collins at the back, along with Canute.
Dorian seems to struggle in these tight turns. He's so when he gets the right course, he's remarkable to watch. But in the Super League events he's done, he doesn't like these aggressive starts in the swim and these tight circuit bike rides. He just doesn't seem to get that engine rubbing as well as it has. I've seen it run in other races.
You really get the feeling we're going to wave goodbye to a couple of really notable names who aren't going to be in Sunday. If you look through 9th to 12th at the moment in Hayden Wild, Ben Canute, Dorian Collins was there as well. These are guys who we expect to figure in racing even when we have a full field. So this is the kind of pressure that the semi-final format puts on. Gustav Eden, you can see there as well, in 11th position. They're big names in terms of the black and yellow of Super League, but at the moment it's Jonas Schomburg.
Yeah, he's really putting on the pressure now. I think he's trying to do something similar to what Lewis was doing in the race before. Just trying to put the pressure on, try and make it hard for everyone else.
And Aidan Longcroft Harris, what a great spot to be in. He's come out of the qualifiers at that Ottawa event. You've got Schomburg in front of you. You've got the world's best behind you, Johnny Brownlee, chasing up. Goodbye. That's also Aaron Royal there, who's been training a bit with Johnny. It's it's great for him. He's going to be really happy with that.
It's not just about TV time and having a good position early on. This guy is a great swimmer, and we know how important the second swim is in this format. If he can make sure he has a good second swim, it's probably something new for him to go back into the water again, apart from being in at Ottawa. If he can position himself well in that second swim, he's got every chance of ousting some big names. So we'll just see how that goes. But at the moment, there's a 5-second gap back to Johnny Brownlee, and I wonder whether you asked Aidan Longcroft-Harris a year ago if at some point he'd have a 5-second gap on Johnny Brownlee in a race, whether he would have said yes.
Well, if you go back to this event last year, Schomburg was eliminated. So he's really grown throughout the Super League Series, and probably Longcroft-Harris, watching this event at home in Canada, is now leading the thing. So it's a great story of these two, and I think, as we saw in that semi-final one, 2 off the front is a lot better than being in this congested group where problems can happen.
You can almost expect Jonas Schomburg to break away at the front at some point in a race these days. He did that in Tokyo. He's half a lap away on the bike at one point, ended up finishing 12th and qualifying for the Olympics, which brings him back under the wing of the German Federation, no doubt about it. But
everyone loves a winner, right?
Everyone loves a winner, indeed. But he doesn't, in terms of his splits, like he's not in the top 10 in terms of swim, bike or run for Super League from 2018. So it just shows you that
he's maturing as an athlete. He really is maturing as an athlete. I think Singapore was his best performance last year on that Super League circuit. And
by far. So sixth in Singapore, not in 10th was his next best in Mulder, 15th year in Jersey last year. So he's just getting better and better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Jonas Schomburg almost overcooked that corner. He was a little bit wobbly and he actually lost some time. Jonathan Brownlee is actually gaining some time now on them. And it's good to see Hayden Wild is in that mix. And even the youngster Henselate, the junior, he's
too,
in that
6.
mix.
Yeah. He's in there between Aaron Royal and Hayden Wild, Simon Henselate.
He's ripping through the field.
Oh, yeah, have Pujard who's actually attacking this group. Yeah.
And Gustav Eden.
Listen, he's actually struggling a little bit.
With these dead turns.
Yeah,
why can't we make this race 15 times longer, he's thinking to himself. But it does require a different type of fitness.
But it just seemed like he was in such a big gear going around that corner. Surely you would be thinking about that, make sure you're in the right gear so that you can get around that corner and immediately be on the power. And he was trying to get on the power and change gear.
Gap's closed. When there was 2, there's now 3. And Johnny let that go.
It just seems like Johnny is always trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Pujard bridges the gap. So Aurelien Raphael, the Frenchman, led out early, got that 5 points on the bike, and now his countryman Pujard, who also qualified in Bali and is another member of that famed Guernsey Tri team.
Looks like Hayden Wild is quite comfortable. He's in a very good position. He doesn't look too stressed or under pressure. I think he's just biding his time and waiting for his moment.
Just saw, just before we looked away, the line that Gustav Eden took into that dead turn was just a little narrower than everybody else, and it seems that he loses a little bit of speed. He didn't go quite as wide. He kind of came in a bit too narrow and forced himself far wide on the exit. And these are the little things, I suppose, as we mentioned before, that really make Super League what it is. There's no time to make up for something like that. You can really see it go away from you.
And we saw it in the junior race this morning, and it could be a big problem tomorrow if we see a bit of wet water on the road and it raining, because as you sort of drift back and you find yourself chasing, you tend to take that little bit more of a chance as you come into those corners. You slam that front brakes on and people drop the bike. So he seems desperate to get across to that group. That gap was open. He ran a terrible line and the gap got bigger.
A little bit of wet water, eh?
Yeah, a bit of wet water.
It's the worst kind of water, wet
There's
water.
There's dry water, isn't there? It's got ice.
No, it's on there now.
Okay, yeah.
You can't see it.
Pujard is actually putting in a bit of a surge. He's trying to get away. I think he's also trying to do something that Vincent Louis was doing, and it seems like Jonas Schomburg is not as comfortable on the bike as what he should be. He's just hesitating around that roundabout, and he's just leaving like a second or two just behind, and you can see that has created a gap now.
Yeah, he had that little moment before, and then that maybe is all it takes. Suddenly you think, I just need to finish in the top 5. I don't need to bust myself today. But Anthony Pujard, the 28-year-old, second in the Mediterranean Sprint Champs in the middle of the year, certainly knows how to do it over the short distances, and he's probably put 5 seconds in just in the last 800 or so metres.
He's doing it all with bike skills. He's just really handling this course very, very well. He's taking good lines. He's accelerating out of the corners well. It's all. He's a technician.
Yeah, he's using the full road just to make sure that he can use every little bit of this course. And he's really holding it tough. Oh, Hayden Wilder's coming out to the front. I think he's going to try and attack, or maybe just pull the group together. You never know.
Well, Hayden Wild's the kind of guy who'll want that short shoot in his pocket. He knows, he's seen it before. He's been on course and had races taken away from him. There's Dorian Connings, who looks like he's deep in it. Chris Perrin behind, and there's Aurelian Raphael, who had a fantastic swim. Again, a very narrow line coming into that dead turn.
It seems like the guys going for the swimmer's jersey are really pushing the pace in the beginning, and then they're kind of falling off. So I don't know if they're getting into that red too soon.
And they've got to get to tomorrow's final to take those points to hold that jersey for the round win. So there's no use cooking it and then not making through the final.
Lovely angle there of the roundabout from the top end. But
so there we go, Hayden Wild.
Yep.
That's that mountain bike skill of Hayden Wild. He grew up on a mountain bike. He grew up in the South Island, New Zealand.
Yeah.
And
he's a dual junior Xterra world champ. So
he would be loving this course, especially with the extra dogleg that we've added in here on this year's course.
Big group behind. It's going to be a good fight at the end if they can stay together. Canute there and Eden at the back.
Hanging on.
He's been at the back the whole time, and Canute actually slid around him. He was behind him a couple of laps ago, so he's not enjoying the tight turns.
Doherty is actually moving up really well on the bike.
He was number 50. He's the one who was at the back coming out of the water, so he's made a big effort there.
Yeah, there we go, Hayden Wild putting in a little surge. I think he's trying to actually get as much time as he can because he knows his swimming is not a strong point, and he's going to put in a very strong run as well.
I think that'll be the fastest bike of the day for him because this is the bike that counts for the jersey.
Let's go down to Joe in transition. How are you seeing this? It's a race in two at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's two in front, Jodie. Are you surprised that they're neck and neck right now?
No, not really. I mean, Hayden's going to go away on this run now. He's one of the fastest runners on this course. He needs a gap going into the swim to help him because that's his weakness. He's doing this right on key, what he should be doing.
We've just seen Johnny Brownlee come past us. He seems to be struggling a little bit though. Do you think he has it in him to stay in the top 5?
Yeah, definitely. He'll definitely, I think, stay in the top 5. He just needs to be in contention and he'll be fine. Hayden really needs to play this smart and get an advantage, whereas Johnny doesn't necessarily at this point.
Okay, well, it's a good battle for spots there, just the top 5, and then of course those fastest losers. Good battle down here.
Thanks, guys. Hayden Wild first up the hill. He didn't rack his bike. He racked his bike front in, as per normal.
Monster transition.
Yeah, he did.
Hayden.
Maybe he made that decision.
He really set that up. He works the runs very well. He likes to be out in front. He's got a big gap. I wonder what's going through his head. We remember he debuted here last year in Jersey with that big sprint finish against Mario Mola, and he's just gone from strength to strength.
Yeah, he
just nearly took a wrong turn there.
Nearly took the bike course. It's just a shorter turn up near the fan zone. He'll make the long left, come off this straight.
I think he's really trying to maximise his time on the run here.
Get that margin of error for the swim.
Exactly. Someone we haven't mentioned is Aaron Royal. He's actually sitting really well in that group, and I think with his swim strength, he could also move towards the front, maybe get a breakaway with Johnny Brownlee, Anthony Pajard, and maybe Jonas Kronberg as well.
And the junior?
Well, these two.
Ben Canute.
From Simon Hensel, it looks behind him and sees a world champion. And he sees Ben Canute as well. He just thinks, what a day I'm having. What an absolute day I'm having. Won the junior race, and now look at the guys that are behind me on this one.
Just taking scalps.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Super League in terms of giving people opportunities to race on the big stage. That's exactly what we're all about at Super League Triathlon. And in terms of the last couple of years of giving people opportunities to shine on the big stage, if you think back to 1 year ago, Hayden Wild announced himself with a sprint finish with Mario Mola, who was at the time the world champion, and bested him for 6th and 7th. And that's when we really remember the name Hayden Wild, and he really showed us what he was capable of in the rounds that came after that, and now he's leading a semi-final.
Oh, it's awesome. He's just such a good personality. He's one of the favourites on the circuit of all the athletes and all the staff. He's just a bundle of fun. He's gone from strength to strength this year, and just watching his progression as an athlete has been remarkable.
He looks very comfortable. It seems, well, he could be having the poker face on, but he looks comfortable in the run. Johnny's headed to the front of the chasing pack ahead of Aaron Royal.
Looking at the big screen.
Yeah, he looks very in control. Johnny Brownlee pushing the pace behind. Aaron Royal, he's looking very comfortable actually. I think he could be one to maybe challenge Hayden Wild towards the end.
Gustav Eden's had to move up a lot. He doesn't have a big swim, so this next 800 metres for him is important to at least try and get on the back of this group if he possibly can, and have some feet to follow in the swim.
Someone needs to bridge cross because Aidan Longcroft Harris is losing touch with the top 5, who he is at the moment. Wild, Brownlee, Royal, Pajard and Schomburg. 2 seconds back, Longcroft Harris, but he looks pretty deep in it. Gustav Eden another 3 seconds back, and as you say, he needs to get across. And then we have our junior, and behind him, Ben Canute, 5 seconds back, actually. So it looks like he's actually lost a little bit of time from last time we saw them both on screen.
Ben Canute being behind Gustav Eden is a good thing, because Ben Canute is really, really strong in that second swim. We've seen him many times close that gap, or close some gap. And when you look at the back of that top, we're talking 10 seconds, over 300 metres. Ben Canute's swim, he could close that to that group.
We might lose Dorian Connings in this one. He's proved to himself to be so quick. He's part of that world champion and Tokyo test. That sprint finish he had with Alex Yee was absolutely outstanding. He knows how to put it down, but at the moment, he's a good 30 seconds behind. So we might lose the Frenchman. There is Eden, who's coming up on Longcroft Harris, and behind him, Simon Henselet. Con Doherty, who's dug very deep, and there is Ben Canute right. He's actually been overtaken just then by Doherty. You can see on the timing splits, Doherty was behind, and he's now in front.
Well, Doherty struggled in that first swim, and it looks like he's obviously a big bike, big runner. So he's using all his matches right now to stay in the hunt.
Yeah, Constantine Doherty, 23 years of age. Gold in Nummo in the Sprint World Cup in August. He's also the Oceania Sprint Cup champion, won that on the Gold Coast, and a couple of times he's been the Irish national champion as well. So he knows how to sprint, but Hayden Wild knows how to put it together in the black and yellow. He's proved that time and time again. So he's controlling this race just at the moment, 7 seconds ahead of Brownlee. It was 7 seconds, sorry, now it's 11 seconds. So
yeah, he won't be letting up just yet. He knows that there are some strong swimmers coming from behind, and yeah, I think he's just trying to make the most of everything. Like you can see, he's trying to have the quickest transition that he can possible.
What do you think of that?
What happened then?
Well, he's just thought I'd be quicker if I do it on the run.
Oh.
But I don't know if it is.
That's the first time I've ever seen anything like that in my life, and it's typical of the Falcon to think of something like that.
Well, I just take him off here.
Yeah, while I'm running. This is a
what do you
transition.
think? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to get the numbers crunched on that.
Johnny Brownlee, good transition. Aaron Royal, as you said, Henry, right there with a big swim. And Gustav Eden has moved all the way through. It's exactly what he had to do. He's closed that gap. He's got Jonas Schomburg behind him. He's going to have to swim around him, along with Ben Canute, who's a big swimmer. So Gustav's in a good position with swimmers around him that he can use to stay in contention.
If Schomburg was clever, he would actually try and pass him on the run down to the water. Otherwise, trying to pass him in the water would be much more difficult than running around him.
Well, he can get in your way, right? You're a fast swimmer. I was always back. It's those slower swimmers as you're trying to move through that get in your way and make progression forward difficult.
Well, Schomburg's too far back there. They were both on the ramp coming down. So he's going to have to pass Gustav Eden in the water. But out the front, Hayden Wild, currently at 17 minutes. Looking at 36 minutes is the mark. We're down one triathlon. We're into the second. So
at the moment, it's quicker.
Yeah, well, I'd say the second swim's going to be a bit slower than the first one. Brownlee, 12 seconds back. Royal hanging in there. He was only a late inclusion, Aaron Royal. Rang up and said I wanted to be involved. We had a couple of people pull out. Aaron Royal come in, former under-23 world champion, 29 years of age now.
Australian Olympian.
Yep.
He's a great athlete, Aaron Royal. He's been a fantastic junior in Australia, now one of the veterans of the Australian circuit, just a magnificent athlete.
Finished 16th in the Lausanne Grand Final. He was part of the bronze winning team in the World Cup in Hamburg for the mixed team relay. So he's still very, very fast. There's no doubt about it, and he's showing that now. Poujard is having an impressive run as well. 14 seconds back along with Royal. Be good to see him as a qualifier come into the mix. There is Aurelien Raphael. He'll need to have the swim of his life. Need to put an outboard motor on.
Yeah, he's fighting for survival now. He may be eliminated. I think he'll survive this swim, but
maybe not the season. Probably won't make it to the end. He was a minute and 2 seconds back. Now it's a minute and 7 seconds. He can swim some of that away, but not much probably.
I think Johnny is actually going to be closing up this gap, and it's quite good to see that they are working with each other, these three strong swimmers. They're not on top of each other, and they're getting into a single line, single file, and that way they can catch Hayden Wild a lot easier.
How much of a difference, just for people who are just tuning in, how much of a difference does that make? Because you hear that a lot, but like when you're on someone's feet like that, even when you're side by side versus someone's feet or on a hip, what difference does it make?
It just kind of feels like you're getting sucked back when they're sitting on your wave on your shoulder, and it's just not a nice feeling, especially if you have two people next to you are sitting on your shoulder. It just feels like you're working 10 times harder. So if you're trying to be tactical and maybe slow them down, then do that. But if you want to catch up and catch up to Hayden Wild in front here, get into single file, or if you're trying to get a breakaway, just be in single file.
So if you're on someone's feet, how much easier are you working than someone like Wild who's on his own? Are you working
Hayden
more
Wild
easily?
is putting in quite a bit of effort. He's got no slip in front of him. Jonathan Brownlee would actually be gaining a little bit, that he's getting a little bit of the draft from Hayden right now. So he'll be...
What about if you're Royal sitting on Brownlee, like in terms of energy expenditure? Much less?
I think Royal is quite a strong swimmer, so he might also just be using this to recover, make his move on the bike and run.
I was that annoying athlete that used to try and sit on your hip and slow you down, because it's an unbelievable feeling. It might feel terrible for the person leading the swim, but for the person sitting off the hip, it's a perfect spot to be. It's like surfing that wake.
Yeah, you can save about 30% energy. That's
huge.
Really a nice feeling.
That's a
Hayden
huge
Wild
amount of
has had a
energy.
really good swim. I'm actually really impressed. He's held off the strong swimmers from behind, and he's still got maybe 3 or 4 seconds.
Brownlee and Royal come in 1 and 2 next to each other. Sorry, obviously 2 and 3. Behind them is Anthony Poujard, and then quite a big gap to
Longcroft Harris.
Longcroft Harris, who's managed to hold off the chasing pack. Eden should be there or thereabouts, and Schomburg.
Eden, good swim with Schomburg. Never went around him. Stayed with him. That's a good spot to be.
Yeah, it really is. That's a much improved swim. I guess we can expect that from Gustav Eden to really work into this one. Joe and Jody are in transition. Talk us through it, guys.
Quite noticeably colder down here, hasn't it? A bit more windy. How's that going to affect things?
Yeah, it's definitely colder. I mean, they're out of the swim now, so I think the boys will be fine. They won't get too cold now, but the temperature's definitely dropped.
Okay, and the positions, they just keep changing. We've had Brownlee caught right up. Now Wild seems to have gone away, and Raphael, who was in the lead at the start, is dropping off in the back.
Yeah, definitely. That's why this event is so you have to do swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. You have to be up there. You have to be in contention. I'd put my money on Wild at this point, definitely. If he comes in and contention onto the run, it's his game.
But it's all changing hands. Anything can happen. Back to you.
Thanks, guys. We know how deep Ben Canute can dig, and Gustav Eden as well, and they're going to need to do that. 28 and 29 seconds back.
Yeah, Hayden Wild knows he's got a chance now. He can really extend this lead if he pushes hard on the bike, uses his bike skill to his advantage.
He hasn't put his shoes on yet. Look at that. He still hasn't slid into his shoes. He's gone all the way around that roundabout without transitioning into those bike shoes.
He's being really aggressive right now, trying to maximise that gap.
He was also maximising the draft off the bike there early through that roundabout, and coming off that onto the straight. But yeah, one shoe on.
Getting back into the bike shoes for the second time is actually more difficult because it's not set up 100%.
Yeah.
So sometimes your shoes are a little bit closed, and to try and get your feet in that second time is actually quite an art by itself.
Well, I imagine also you're cold, your feet are cold, your hands are cold, fumbling around down there trying to make sure that everything's under control.
He's chasing that gap. He's not even trying to put that left foot in yet. He's opening up. He's trying to get up to speed. He'll lean down when he's his fastest speed so he doesn't lose any time. So he's committed to getting away from
I would have thought it was there. I would have thought it was downhill into that spot. I mean, there's not a lot of spots. There's not a lot of nice straights that you can...
It's true, it's still not on. He's thinking, I'm away here. I'm going to keep pushing forward. Now I'll put the foot in. It took him a lap to get both those feet in.
Yeah, he knows he's going to be slowing down right now, so he used that part of the course to just try and put his foot in. Anthony Poujard is really pushing on behind, trying to close that gap.
Using that bike skill we saw in that opening bike leg. Johnny Brownlee going to follow, and as you said, Aaron Royal has really set up his race by really shadowing Johnny Brownlee.
Aaron Royal, I think, is having a really good race. I think he's tactically in the best position so far in the whole race. I think he might have a little bit more energy towards the end of this.
Yeah, without question. He's got a good run. These 4 are away. They're safe. The top 5 are safe. It's Gustav Eden now. I'm looking at the Ben Canutes. The Jonas Schomburg, who was so strong in that opening triathlon, has drifted a little bit further back. He's got himself some work to do.
Canute and Schomburg are capable, we think, of catching Longcroft Harris. He's our bubble athlete. He's 14 seconds back. He's all by himself. He's 9 seconds ahead of Knut and Schomburg and Eden, who are very accomplished athletes, and two of them know this kind of format quite well. I'd love to see Hayden Longcroft Harris stick solid and get through.
So would I. It's just good to see a qualifier take out contracted athletes. It just shows that nobody's safe. Names mean nothing in this style of racing, and each week you turn up to defend your name. And Longcroft Harris says, I don't care if you've got a contract or not, we're all in this race together, I'm going to take you out. If you don't make the final, tough luck.
Well, he's certainly doing that just at the moment, and Hayden Wild is showing some fantastic bike skills, really maximising this course, and there is a few dangers out there. We've seen a few people come unstuck, but he looks like he's got it on rails. He looks a bit like Lewis was.
Yeah, he's done the same as Vincent Lewis. He's just established that break early from that first run and just sort of held it. As you said, Henry, he had a magnificent swim, and he looks as comfortable as Vincent did in the first race, calling out the crowd.
I'm liking this calling out the crowd on the bike. That's another new one.
That's very confident.
Yeah, we saw Vincent do it on the run. He saw Vincent do it on the run in the last one, but I'll do it on the bike.
That was the run, mate.
Yeah, I'm doing it easy.
Well, at what point in Super League does someone stop halfway through the swim and just go,
Henry can do that.
Everybody. Henry's, I've seen him be so far in front, he's had to turn around to make sure he was going the right way.
But Royal, Pajot and Brownie are actually working really well together. They're taking their turns, trying to catch Hayden Wild up front.
And there's Ben Knut. You don't want Ben Knut behind you, because that guy does not stop. He's a little bit like a Christian Blumenfeld. He just continually moves forward, and Longcroft Harris is going to get hunted down by Jonas Schomburg, Ben Knut, Gustav Eden.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a race for that top 5 automatic slot. And I do feel like this race is a little bit quicker than the first one.
Yeah, I think it has that feeling, doesn't it, without question. Hayden pushing up the front, you've got Johnny Brownlee and that crew chasing behind, and that desperation of that third group to close that gap has kept the pace consistently stronger.
Yeah, that is not good news if you're a Canadian fan.
How he's swinging around that corner. He's using every bit of the course, and he's actually gaining a second just on that roundabout, that U-turn.
He rides a bike beautifully. Leo Bergier is another athlete I like to watch on a bike. He seems to sit very well, rides good lines, and Hayden Wild, you can just see that mountain bike skill. And you apply that to a road bike, he just uses the entire road, very comfortable in and out of those turns, and just comfortable.
We're going to have an elimination, I think, coming through transition. I saw it come up at the 130, and it is Dorian Connix, who is one of the bigger names out there.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had a good day today, and that is why we have the elimination rule, because he was about to get lapped by Hayden Wild, who looks like he's just out for a Sunday ride.
Yeah, he's ripping up this bike course, and he's making it really difficult for the guys like Konex, who just got eliminated.
Well, he likes the new course, because last year we didn't see him as much. We saw him a lot further back. This is only the semi-final, but I think he likes those more dead turns. He's able to use more of the road. He's out in front on his own. He's just riding away.
Now, Hayden Wild has won a stage before in stage racing, and he picked up $1,000 for that. It was at the top of the hill in Malta. And remember they had a discussion, him and Johnny Brownlee, really, about who was going to win that stage, and the two of them went up, and Hayden kicked on and won it. But that's a stage, and that's almost, it's not an orchestrated victory, but he kicked away. He has never dominated a race like this, and this has got half the field in it. This, a little bit like Rachel Clammer earlier on, is a little bit more, just another step in the coming of age scenario for Hayden Wild, who is now puts a legitimate, well, it was a stage win. This is a race win.
Yes.
And put that in the back pocket.
It's been a more even performance. As you said, in Malta last year, it was a big run performance. For Hayden, this event, he's really dominated. He's come off that swing a little bit further back. He moved up on the bike. He made his move on that run, held on in that second swim, and has just established himself on this bike ride. And he's going to be very difficult to run down from here. He won't be run down from here.
Yeah, he's just gaining confidence as this race goes further on. You can just see how he's so comfortable on the bike, just swinging around the corners like it's just a Sunday ride.
Yeah.
And even though these guys are trying to work as hard as they can together, they're still losing time to him.
Well, these three have almost, you think, put the cue in the rack when it comes to winning this one. 23 seconds back. It's almost the exact same scenario on lap 4 of the bike. There were 23 seconds back in the last semi-final. And the same things happen. Off he goes to the bike, Hayden Wild. Off his S-Works Venge, which is a beautiful looking bike. And racket frontways this time. We're not going to need it again.
I just don't think he'll jog either, Hayden. I think he's going to lap this up. He'll move along well. Look,
He's got 8
It'll be
minutes.
interesting to see. I mean, he should also be thinking about the race tomorrow. And I think tactically he's done it really well to increase that gap on the bike so that he can have an easier run. His body will be a little bit, if he can have an easier run now, his body will be fresher tomorrow for the final.
He looks incredibly composed when you look at that versus the faces of these three guys, Anthony Pujard, Aaron Royal and Jonathan Brownlee. But 36.03 for Vincent Lewis was the mark. Martin Van Riel in the 36.12. It's gotten a little bit colder. If anything, the conditions aren't quite as good, but let's see what happens.
Let's do the math. What time were they?
Yeah, I think it's going to be much quicker.
So 29.55 was the coming out of transition. So effectively it's a 7 minutes.
36, you said.
36.03.
So 29.05 is 7 minutes.
What?
If there's 36 minutes and they did 29.03, let's do the math.
29.55.
Oh, I thought you said 29.03. I'll give you that then.
Coming out of transition on the 1600, 29.55.
Okay, so a 5 minute mile, which is a
my brain melted there a second. I thought, have I lost it?
So Hayden Wild is actually not really pushing. You can see he's just kind of going through the motions.
Vince had Martin Van Riel with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
This is a quicker heat. If he cruises a 5 minute mile, which is a nice run, it's a comfortable run. You're in under the winning time of Vincent Lewis, so it's a nice race by Hayden Wild.
The bike goes down for Chris Perham, and he's on the bubble. Where's the? Oh, there we go. He was close, nearly making it through the first lap of this run, but not close enough. Michael Thompson takes a little bit of joy in putting that out, doesn't he?
Smirk. He has
just a little smirk.
You are the
I was out there
weakest
this morning, and the crowd were actually booing him.
Constantine Doherty, the Irishman, is a minute back, so he should hold on because Hayden Wild is not running at his full capacity. But
he's almost using it like a warm down, basically.
Well, we'll see. At what point does he throw a high five out during the first run through transition, or does he wait until the second time through transition?
You can never read the Falcon. He does everything.
No, yes, exactly. Will he take his shoes off and have one run around like Leo Bergier in Singapore just to do something different? Who knows? But this is an interesting little battle. Pujard, Royal and Brownlee.
Johnny's experienced there. Johnny knows he's safe. He's going to run through this as easy as possible.
This is a gauntlet throwdown, though, isn't it, for Wild? This is. I'm here for business. I'm here to do it in Super League. He's been committed to Super League since he came on, and he's showing everyone that he has got the skills, the stamina at this stage of the season to win this thing, to challenge Vincent Lewis for the round win, to pick up $20,000 US. He comes through in a 30.42.
Yeah, it seems like Jonathan Brownlee, hasn't been on the front much. I think he's thinking a lot about tomorrow. He's not thinking about winning this or getting the short shoot. He's just being very tactical, and maybe that plays in his favour tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw him looking at the short shoot when we were constructing it over the weekend. He said, that's it. There's only a three-second advantage maximum.
It's not as far.
It's not as far. So
he was 70% as far as it was.
Yeah.
Put it down about 30%.
Yeah, we have Gustav Eden. I think he'll get that fifth qualifying spot. And Ben Canute is pushing hard behind him.
Jonas Schomburg off the back. And Jonas Schomburg, who came in with so much promise at the start, has to push. He
really does have to push. Our sixth place was Pierre Lecour in a 36.32. So that's your first qualifying time at the moment. This is a fast heat, though. If you look at that 32.33, they're all within about the 33. So they've got to run 800 metres in about 3 minutes.
Which is comfortable for everyone in
this
field.
Yeah, Hayden must just be loving this right now. It's such an amazing feeling when you're out in front, very controlled, and you know you're going to take the win. He's just soaking it all in, and I'm sure he's going to have so much confidence come tomorrow, and I think Vincent Louis should be a little bit scared.
Yeah, it's an amazing performance. It's a performance. I don't think Vincent's going to be alone. Last year he had yourself and Richard Murray in this enduro format. I think Hayden's going to be right there, and the only kryptonite he has, I guess, is the swim, and he needs to stay close again with 15 in the final tomorrow.
Yeah, Vincent Louis would know that, and I think he's already planning that's where he's going to make his move, is on the swim.
Yeah, after his efforts in Super League, there's a big smile from the Falcon after his Super League efforts. He's even having a chat. He really announced himself on the WTS this year as well. He's led races at times. He's become a force. He's become at least someone to think about. And he said his aim this year is top 4 in the series, and he's certainly laying down a marker Vincent Lewis, though, has never lost an enduro. He's won all 3 previous enduros. We'll have swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run tomorrow. And could it be these two? There's the Falcon wings, and everybody loves it. Absolutely loves it. And no one loves it more than Hayden Wild. He's even spotting people in the crowd. And it looks like he's going to run in under the 36 mark. We're going to have to look at that when he comes through at the end. But this has been a fast heat, and there is no one in transition except for Hayden Wild, who runs around the bottom. Let's not forget that Vincent took a long time to get around through transition himself. He's got the New Zealand flag. I hope personally that he picked up an Australian one by accident. They're very similar, but it doesn't matter. The Falcon crosses the line as your semi-final B winner. Congratulations to Hayden Wild. He did it easy in the end, and he has sent a bit of a shockwave through the competition. Aaron Royal breaks away. Well done to him as a late inclusion, the Australian to qualify. Anthony Poujard qualifies as well.
Johnny switched off.
Johnny qualifies, and there's Gustav Eden at the top end of the course. What a big crowd we've had here in Jersey today. The weather has stayed away, and the people of Jersey have come out in force. There's been people travelling from all over the world as well. And Ben Canute, no time for high fives. Him and Constantine Doherty, along with Schomburg, all know they need to be quick. It was a 35-34 from Hayden Wild, 32 seconds quicker than Vincent Lewis did the job. And when you look back, if you watch that first race, he looks supreme, Vincent Lewis, and to put 30-plus seconds into him, well, that is quality.
That was a big race, and for Schomburg, I think that the pace of that race is going to get him through the final, but he cannot make those mistakes tomorrow. I think Hayden has really stepped up here, and Vincent Lewis is probably listening to us right now, if you're watching this online. He's made a statement, Hayden Wild, that's for sure.
Wild, Royal and Poujard all beat Vincent Lewis in that heat. Johnny Brownlee was 1 second outside the time. And Eden as well in a 36-16. We're going to have the updated results and who was on the bubble in just a second. But in the meantime, let's head down to Joe, who has Hayden Wild, our semi-final B winner.
Okay, well, we are just down here. We're just getting warm now. Hayden, you said you wanted a post-race interview. You earned one. How did it feel to dominate like that?
I wasn't expecting that. I had a really good swim start, kind of like around that middle edge of the buoy, and I was real clean around the buoy. And yeah, got up into a real good position, and it was quite hard to get through everyone. But by the time I got to the front, it was about in 3rd position. And then I saw one of the French coaches go for it, so I was like, I'll try and catch him, and that's when we got the gap. Put the pressure on the first run so I could get a gap in the swim, because that's what I needed. Super surprised I didn't get caught in the swim. I was waiting for that. But yeah, got on the bike and just went for it for the first 2 laps, and then just started kind of just using the corners to my advantage, being out the front. And then as soon as I got the gap, I just tried to make the run as easy as possible for tomorrow.
And I don't know if you know this, but you were over 30 seconds quicker than Vincent Louis. Do you think that you can put pressure on him tomorrow, perhaps cause an upset?
You never know. Like, he could have been saving it, but yeah, I just went out there and put it all on the line. I was really enjoying heading out at the front. So yeah, looking forward to racing Vincent. But he's strong over all 3 disciplines, and I'm still young and I'm still learning on that swim leg. So I think that's where he's going to have the upper edge for me. So I really need to be in my game to get him tomorrow.
Okay, now one thing we did notice was quite a few shoe issues. What was going on there? There was one when you put your shoes on running, then you lost one on your bike. What happened?
Well, I actually didn't lose one on my bike. I just had it sitting on top, so I was waiting into a good position. So there's no point in kind of fighting around with your shoes when you're kind of like on a front straight. So I was always trying to put them on in the corner so I wouldn't lose any time. And yeah, it worked perfectly. So yeah, it went real well. And here, when I was trying to take my shoes off, I figured out if I just keep on kind of rolling with momentum, I don't have to fully stop on transition, so I can just quickly let them down and go, and that's what I did. So it worked out pretty well.
Excellent. Well, you have definitely announced yourself at Super League Triathlon, and we look forward to seeing what you can do tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. It was my first Super League here last year, and that's when I kind of had my kind of first kind of outbreak in my big kind of career top 5. So it's nice to come back and get the win here today.
Good luck tomorrow.
The Falcon just keeps flying on, and this time he wins the semi-final, and he does it in a 35-34, 30 seconds quicker than in Heat A, or semi-final A. Aaron Royal comes in under Vincent Lewis's time. Anthony Poujard does as well. Jonathan Brownlee was only a couple of seconds outside that time. And Gustav Eden, the 70.3 world champ, he can do it on the short course as well. He does a 36-16. We've done the math in here, and it looks as though Ben Canute, Constantine Doherty, Jonas Schomburg, and our junior Simon Henselet, having raced this morning as well, will all go through to the final. Aidan Longcroft-Harris is also at a 36.36. So I'm not sure what happens there because 36.32 was Pierre Lacour. So he'll jump in. So one of these two at 36.36 will go through. If it's a dead heat bracket, do they both go through?
It'll go to hundredths of a second. We just won't see that on the television coverage, but there's hundredths of a second with the timing, and
we'll have to have a look at it. It's going to be
interesting to see who gets that. Wouldn't it be amazing if the young junior who raced this morning grabs the spot in tomorrow's final?
That would be amazing. Henselet on our timing list is ahead of Longcroft-Harris, although they both have a 36.36, so we'll have to look at the hundredths of a second to see if indeed Simon Henselet can go through. That would be fantastic. And look at that, the kid's getting involved, and Hayden Wild all smiles. He really just keeps coming on in leaps and bounds.
It's the best performance I've seen of Hayden. We saw him in Malta last year, he looked fantastic, but today he just looks so controlled, so in the zone. I can't wait for tomorrow's race.
Speaking of controlled, Johnny Brownlee certainly was that. He knew he had to qualify, he did what he had to do. He's down there with Joe right now.
Yes, Johnny, you did look controlled out there. 4th place, a little bit of up and down. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, it was solid. It was a tough racing, and when I knew that Hayden was going off the front, I knew then that I was just going to come in the top 5 and that'd be enough. So hopefully I have better legs tomorrow, but yeah, it was tough.
And I also know you've been a little bit under the weather, so hopefully that sort of got you back in gear ahead of tomorrow. Were you sort of saving a little bit of something because of that?
Oh yeah, well, I didn't want to make an excuse, but yeah, I'm not feeling great, but hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow. But yeah, it was tough, you know. You got to be 100% on it in this racing, and hopefully I recover better than most people. That's knowing my strength is backing it up, but tomorrow's a new day, and we'll see.
But of course the crowd here obviously loves you. You're our British Olympian. How much was the crowd helping you on for the tough moments today?
Yeah, the crowd was amazing. To be honest, if it wasn't Jersey in Britain, I probably wouldn't have raced this time around. Yeah, it's an amazing place to race. We're so fortunate being British athletes to have the best crowd in the world. You know, I've been watching the World Cycling Champs all morning, and the Yorkshire crowd is amazing then, and we're just so fortunate that people come out and watch us. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, keep warm, eat well. We'll see you on the start line tomorrow.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Johnny Brownlee keeping it close to his chest that he wasn't feeling too well, but he always turns out in front of the Jersey crowd. I am hearing as well, as we look at the Jersey cow there, that's fantastic, that Simon Henselet is in.
Oh, look at that. What a story, huh? There was a lot of talk when we offered that junior slot in the semi-final whether the athletes would take it. As some of the federations said they're not up for it and these juniors will be exposed and it shouldn't happen. Others said we're going to take that chance, and voila, the German has put himself straight in with the world's best into a final.
Such an amazing opportunity. I mean, he's going to be racing against Vincent Louis and Jonathan Brownlee again, and you know, it's something that he can take into his stride, and he's definitely going to improve from this.
Not only that, he's going to be racing in front of a potential television audience of 1.5 billion people. You don't get much better than that. If you're looking at sponsors, if you're looking at exposure, we have the biggest television broadcasting in multi-sport history, and Simon Henselet came here as a junior this morning to race in the junior race, and he's going to do that tomorrow.
He's now in the top 15, and I always think back, you know, I remember a 19-year-old Alistair Brownlee at that Beijing Olympics, and at 23 he's an Olympic champion. You know, these young athletes having the opportunity to race their heroes is a big opportunity, and I'd take it.
We knew it was going to be a big swimming semi-final, and it didn't disappoint. There were some very, very quick times, and right at the front of that was Aidan Longcroft-Harris, Jonas Schomburg as well, and Anthony Poujard, and those two in front of him, they dropped away in the end, but Poujard stayed strong, Brownlee did as well, and so did Royal, the trio behind them. But Poujard was very strong, surprisingly strong. I mean, I've done my research into him, but he was out here to race today.
He was technically very, very strong on that bike. He used his technical bike course to his advantage and was able to stay out of trouble and set everything up.
That was where Hayden Wild took control. He really had a quick, we thought maybe he made a mistake and overlooked it racking his bike front on, but his transition there was what set up the rest of his race. He really put in the extra time, so he had the ability to have a nice clear swim, and he swam well. You mentioned it at the time.
Yeah, he really had a good swim. Really impressed with that, and he just capitalized even more on that second bike, just extending that lead.
It's interesting to me with the little things that Hayden Wild did, that momentum in his transition. I've never seen that before in my life, and that's what Super League's doing. He's taking his shoes off while he's running. He's mentored by Olympic champion Hamish Carter, who won the Athens Olympic Games. He's a Kiwi, one of the superstars of the old era of triathlon. He just seems to be doing all the little things right. He's 100% a star of the future, Hayden Wild.
Forget star of the future.
He's a star
of
now.
right now.
He really is.
He had his top 5 finishes. He said in that interview that's where he really felt like he announced himself or made a breakthrough. Well, if that was a breakthrough, he's completely shattered it now, because he is the quickest man of the day around this course, and you can't ask for more than that from one day's racing.
And he's for the first time in his life, he gets to pick the pontoon position. He starts tomorrow, so they'll be listing the top 15 times, and Hayden Wild will stand up first and pick where he wants to start on that pontoon.
All right, we'll head down right now to Joe, who is soaking it up down there in transition. There's plenty of people around, Joe.
Yes, plenty of people around. You know, the athletes are just starting to make their way and getting warm. I've got Jodie with me. Jodie, let's take a little look back at today. First of all, the big question everyone's talking about, Hayden Wild, Vincent Louis. From the ground view up close that we get, who looked more comfortable?
Oh, that's really difficult to say. I think tomorrow you wouldn't bet against Vincent Louis, but I definitely think Hayden Wild's going to give him a run for his money if he's there when it comes to the run leg. The thing is, I think he's got to be there to give it to him. I think Vincent Louis will try and get away from him beforehand.
And what an exciting set of races we've already seen today. Aside from Hayden and Vincent, who else out of the men's races looked strong for you today?
I'm not gonna not say Johnny Brownlee. You know, I would still back him. Aaron Royal looked really good today as well, and of course Martin Van Riel, he's going to be up there. He showed how strong he's going with that bike leg that bridged up to Vincent. I think, you know, there's definitely other key players that could be up there, and the French boys as well.
Okay, and in the women's race, in a way it's quite hard to compare those races because obviously there were less competitors in semi-final B, but who do you think looked strong?
Katie, you've got to say Katie. Katie, she'll get better each round, and she'll, you know, that'll just improve her each round, and of course Cassandra as well. But Sophie Caldwell looked good for me today as well, so I think she's going to improve every race as well.
Any surprises, any upsets today, eliminations, things you didn't expect?
I think Hayden Wild, I think he, you know, the way that he dominated that final race, I think that was pretty impressive. And on the women's front as well, Rachel, I think even though it wasn't a shock, she was the favourite in that last one. She's showing that she's running well as well, and if she's there, then she'll be in the mix.
Yeah, we're all going wild for Hayden Wild today, and there were a number of incidents around kit today. People putting their bikes in reverse, people not having their shoes on properly. How much of a difference can these things make?
These little things make an absolutely massive difference in this format. You can kind of get away with it in Olympic distance, and you make these little mistakes, and you don't really get caught up with it. But these ones, because it's so short, sharp, you know that you really have to pay the consequence. You know, just little things like putting your hat and goggles in your suit ready for the next round, or putting your bike in the right way that you want to exit. Or on the run, you had some of the guys that had 2 running shoes. You know, all these little things, all these little tactics, they really add up. And I think that, you know, if you want to be in contention for the win tomorrow, you've got to play this part.
Okay, well, we've learnt a lot today from you, Jodie. Thank you so much. We'll hand it back to Will now.
Thanks very much, Joe. We're just down here and we've found the Falcon. He was flying past. He's got a grin on his face about a mile wide. Just now that we've had a couple of minutes to warm down on that one, how do you feel about what you did just then? Can I just also tell you that you were 35 seconds quicker than Vince?
Yeah, I went out there, I wanted to have a real good swim, I got on some good feet, and then, yeah, it was real hard to get through everyone. I was quite far out of the swim, but yeah, it was real easy to kind of get through everyone, and on that third leg I saw the French guys going, I was like, I need to get onto that guy's wheel, and yeah, just used the corners, got through, really wanted to pack on that first ride, and then go into that run to give myself an advantage in the swim. And I was surprised I didn't get caught in the swim because that's what I was kind of expecting. But yeah, held them off and got on the bike and just try to use those corners as everyone knows I love a course like this. And yeah, got on the run to just try and, you know, go as easy as possible to save it for tomorrow.
Just watching it in the commentary box, it was visually obvious that this technicality, this new addition to the course, you revelled in that. You really came off the roundabout, used that dog leg, and your bike skills were an obvious advantage over everyone else.
Yeah, like there's a few times where I had to tell the motorbike guys to hurry on up because he was slowing me down a little bit, but it was quite cool because the camera guy was going around and then you could see sparks coming off his motor scooter, so it was pretty cool. And so I kind of knew I was pushing the pace a bit on the bike, and yeah, I love that new dog leg because it slows the fast swimmers down that have the advantage out of the water, and yeah, it gives me some time to catch up. So yeah.
What was going through your mind in that last half a lap, because you had time to not only give the high fives, we've seen that a few, but at one point you're like, oh no, I see someone I recognise, I'll slow down, give him a high five. It looked very, very comfortable, and you mentioned in your previous interview, this is your breakthrough area. This is where you had a breakthrough last year. You had that sprint finish with Mario Mola, and you thought, he's the world champion, and I did that. So to come back here and actually be the fastest man on the day, that's a whole other step forward in 12 months.
Yeah, like, I've been doing mixed team relay all year, so that's really given me that fast edge with the transitions and all that sort of stuff. And I saw young Ollie Turner, the face jersey there, and my brother up in the grandstand, so it's real nice to see all my friends and family around, especially from the other side of the world. So yeah, just loving it. And I just felt real comfortable. I've been sick since Tokyo, so real happy to actually do a race today and not feel sick, and stoked.
And that rolling transition you did, I've never seen that before. We both thought there was a problem.
Yeah,
was that something that was planned?
Yeah,
or?
I've been practicing it in the bedroom, and I was like, if I just keep my momentum up and try and get the shoes up before the transition, I can just slip them down and go. So it might save me half a second or a second, and yeah, I just felt like I just kept the rhythm going, and I didn't have to stop, so I could kind of keep that breathing in a good position. So
it all leads in to the final tomorrow, the enduro swim bike run, and then swim bike run. It's the most brutal format we have. If Hayden does it the way he did it today, he'll be about 15 minutes in front. But it's all about that fight with Vincent Lewis. They go head-to-head as the winners of the two semi-finals. They've both got the short shoot as well, and behind them will be 13 of the very best in triathlon. And you must be relishing the chance to come up against that reigning champion. He'll be sitting in his room right now, having watched this, or wherever he was watching it, just thinking, oh, hang on, this is what I've got to start thinking about. Now you guys go head-to-head, and you put the hammer down today on him.
Yeah, like it's we do one more triathlon, so the experience from Vincent could come into play, and my swimming experience would be exposed from Vincent, and he could put the hammer down any time. So you never know what's going to happen. There's strong runners in the heat A and heat B. There's a lot of swimmers, so everyone together could become a whole different race. So you never know.
We lost some big names in someone like a Dorian Connix, and Tyler Mislachuk's not going to be there. Matt Sharp's not going to be there, but we've still got plenty of talent. We've got names like Brownlee, we've got names like Blumenfeld, we've got names like Moeller as well. There's so much talent all throughout this final.
I was surprised by Tyler Mislachuk. Of all the surprises today, I expected a lot more from him. I watched him in Tokyo have an amazing event on that in the test event. He doesn't like these cold conditions. It showed up today. I thought Gustav Eden left himself a lot to do. He had to run a lot harder, so that could play a lot of things on his mind tomorrow, or how he's going to recover. It's so much to look forward to in this men's race tomorrow. I'm interested to see with the eliminations at the back tomorrow, something we didn't see today in that enduro format, where you see that last athlete in each discipline eliminated.
You love heartbreak.
I love that.
How
that's going to play out, it's going to be interesting. And I think Vincent Louis is looking at you right now thinking, wow, on land, it's going to be very, very difficult to unearth Hayden Wild. I'm going to have to do some damage in the swim.
All right, we're going to let you go, mate. You look like you're getting a bit cold. Thank you so much for talking to us. Go and rest up. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit more about the women's as well. We're looking forward to another big battle. Cassandra Beaugrand did the job today, so it was really a French flavour early doors, and she looked comfortable doing it.
She looked really comfortable, and we saw her in Singapore in that enduro format really push Katie Zaferis. She did it again today. I think, it's going to be different conditions tomorrow without question. They're talking about a lot more wind. We're watching the monitors in and out with the rain. If there's water on the course and it's wet, things could be different. But Cassandra's swim set everything up, and I think she's going to stay out of trouble all day.
You think so? Rachel Clemmer won semi-final B, and she looked comfortable doing it. So, everyone who's won has looked comfortable at the front. She looked like she really enjoyed that as well.
She did, and we haven't seen Rachel win a race, so it was very, very enjoyable to see both Hayden and Rachel win events, and to have different people taking a short shoot. Will the short shoot come into play tomorrow? Let's see. Again, it's those eliminations at the back that could expose things. Cassandra, we know, won't be isolated. I think Katie Ferris won't be isolated, but it's going to be a fantastic race. Let's just hope it's dry, because that roundabout is very, very slippery.
Come with me, Jordan, if you will. We'll go and see if we can grab Katie Zaferis, and having seen semi-final B, Macca, come with me as well. We'll go see if we can just talk to her really quickly. Katie, If you don't mind, just a quick question. Having seen semi-final B, what do you think of how it went around? Rachel Klammer had a fantastic run. She'll be hard to beat tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it'll be a great race tomorrow, and I'm excited. It was nice that you got to watch semifinal B and actually get to see kind of what happened and pick up some tips from them. I like that ours was overall time-wise faster, so that's a little bit of a confidence booster, but also their bikes were faster, so that's good for me to know going into the race tomorrow.
At what point did you think, oh, I don't need the short shoot, I'm just going to let that one go? Was there a point where you thought, I'm just going to think about tomorrow?
No, I wish there was. I wanted that short shoot. I just didn't have the legs to get her on the last part, and once I saw that I wasn't really closing on her, I eased off just a bit, didn't run so aggressively, but it wasn't because I didn't want the short shoot. It was just I wasn't gaining, and I was then trying to make a smarter decision based off that.
What do you think about Hayden Wild in the men's?
Oh man, he's flying, right? Like that's what he's supposed to do as a Falcon.
Everyone's on board the Falcon train, aren't they? We really coined that term. I think you'll never get rid of it now. Katie, thanks for talking to us. You must be cold. Go and get somewhere a little bit warmer, okay?
I gotta wait for my jersey.
What's that?
I have to wait for my jersey.
Oh, you got one of those as well. All right, there you go. We're going to head down to Jo. She's got Graham to crunch the data.
Absolutely. There's no more important time than now to talk to our resident analyst. First of all, how do you go about making your predictions ahead of tomorrow's race?
We look at all the previous races that we've had. We've got all the individual swim bikes and runs, build them into a database on each of the athletes, and then use that to model what we think is going to happen today, tomorrow, any race in the future.
So you're going to be up late tonight crunching numbers?
Yes, probably. We just try and get all the results out of the timing guys and then feed them into the database.
Okay, so when you take an athlete today like Hayden Wild, who's in form this weekend, he probably won't come up as a predictable winner.
Well, we had him to come third in his heat today, so he wasn't too far ahead of where he's predicted. But whether or not he can contend with Vincent Louis in the other heats, I don't know. Vincent Louis looked very strong today as well.
And a quick look at the girls. Of course, we've got that rivalry again, Katie versus Cassandra. What does it look like so far with your predictions?
Well, we had Zafiri's to win today. Cassandra obviously obviously took the win, so she was very strong. Whether or not Zafiri's holding something back, I don't know. It could be that she's the more tactical of the two of them. She might take some beating tomorrow as well. So.
Well, we've certainly got an exciting day ahead of us. Thank you so much, Graham.
Thanks, Graham. Thanks, Jo. We're having a look right now at the start list for the women's. That'll be at 2 o'clock British summertime. Check your local guides. Check your networks for that. We are going out all over the world. We're also streaming, of course, on YouTube and superleaguetriathlon.com. But it will be on a TV near you, so do not miss it. It's going to be huge. The women's semi-final done. The women's final. Who's your pick, mate?
I'd like to see Cassandra Gagan win here. She's very, very popular. France is just across the channel, and I just think a young talent like that to win an event like this would be magnificent for her preparation for Tokyo.
Okay, the jerseys are being handed out behind us. We're going to give you the full update on who's got the jersey and who's got the colours when you tune in tomorrow. We've got a special pre-show on the streaming as well. Tomorrow's going to be tough. It's going to be windy. It's going to be raining. It's going to take the very best of the best to triumph here and take the $20,000 and more importantly, Macca, the championship points for the first of 7 rounds. It's important to get all the points in the bank here and in Malta and go in and out of the Olympics knowing that you've got a nice little buffer.
Well, you finish these 2 events, you got that Olympic break. This year, the point structure is a little different with only 1 point separating first and second places. So, you know, all bets are off come these 2 events, and it's still wide open post-Tokyo.
All right, it's time to wrap up here from the semi-finals. We've enjoyed an amazing day's racing here in Jersey. The cream has risen to the top. We've had some amazing stories. We've had a junior come through after racing this morning in Simon Henselett, and now he'll race in front of 1.5 billion people. It's going to be fantastic tomorrow. Do not miss it. Check your local guides and all the information on superleaguetriathlon.com. We will see you then. Get amongst it. Hello.